right. Here we go, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
Yeah. I've met you before.
I mean, we've met, but never like a one-on-one conversation like this. We never.
Oh, we
like,
have.
hung
You were
out,
just blackout drunk and don't remember it.
I believe that.
More than once.
I believe that. Yeah, I don't do that as much anymore.
Yeah, good old Board of Ash parties.
Oh, yeah. Well, how could you not at those?
Yeah.
Shit, those are so great.
Yeah, I'm always sober at those. I was going to drive, so I'm like, And I'm just hanging around drunk people like, all right, eventually I'm enough of this. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, those parties were fun, dude.
Yes, they are.
I like those house parties.
Yeah, I know. They're really good. I've only been to one. But
I want to bring those back somehow.
Oh, God, that'd be good.
Yeah. I saw an article from some other place about how the hardcore scene is still alive just through like backyard shows and stuff.
Yep.
Like
backyard shows, house parties.
Fuck, I wish we could do that in like Phoenix, but like even in the summer, it's like it's just
so
too
hot.
fucking hard to do it.
Well, then how many people really have a house, Yeah. And it's like...
That's true. Most people don't have a house anymore. So.
Yeah, and then if they do, a lot of it's HOA stuff. So
God
if you do it outside and not inside, and it's too loud, and you're gonna get noise complaints, and it's all bullshit. So
need to pool together and get a warehouse.
Dude, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, that would be my ultimate dream. Just have a warehouse that is the studio for like the metal scene. That'd be sweet.
Dude, that would be pretty good. Yeah.
I just don't know how that would work out. I gotta do a lot of imagining.
Well, if you got an industrial complex, like industrial zoning, you wouldn't have to worry about noise.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna do that stuff after anyone's having any working hours. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it right too, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad coming out of the building.
No, it won't. But the problem is in a warehouse, it's like all stone, and you got like metal draw doors.
It's gonna
sound like absolute shit.
It's gonna take work,
yes.
dude. You're gonna have to like actually condition the warehouse. Like you can't just leave it bare.
God.
I'm not talking about just walking into an Amazon warehouse and playing a show. Like as cool as that would be, I don't want to.
Yeah. You'd have to do. Yeah, you may have to do it at first, just to get it going. But yeah, it would be awful. It'd be so loud.
Just hang up like carpet scrap.
Yeah, carpet scraps everywhere. Just
rent a scissor lift and roll around hanging carpets up on the walls.
God.
Oh, that'd be legendary.
That would be.
Yeah,
it'd be good though.
Maybe one day.
We need it though.
But
we need more places.
The real estate market needs to crash first.
I will. I mean, I hope it doesn't crash. God, we don't need another 2008, but come down a little bit.
What's gonna happen though? How is it just gonna come down a little bit?
I don't know, man.
The train is just rolling right towards a cliff.
Who knows? It's different this time though, because it's not like before where they were just selling loans to people that clearly couldn't pay for it.
Yeah.
They're not doing that now, but everything else is inflating, so people still can't pay for it.
Yeah, it's a different scenario for sure. It's not the exact same scenario, but
no.
There are definitely like some very big companies profiting off of this housing crisis.
Everything
it's
is
insane.
about profit, man.
And it's like, dude, if you're not paying attention to that part, like, then you have no idea what's going on. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just these big ass companies buying up properties and just holding on to them so they can rent people and just use them as like fucking human batteries.
Investment firms, and it was happening before housing markets, or the housing market hike, which is probably why I got there, because I had some friends in like 2017. They went to buy a house in North Phoenix. It's probably like 4 miles from here, and the only reason they got that house, and it was kind of a fixer-upper, and it was like $250,000 at the time.
Yeah.
And the only reason they could get that is because they had putting offers on like 5 or 6 houses, and they got undersold by investment firms. They were just offering more because they had the money. So they were just buying up everything in the area. So they were like, well, I guess this is what we got. They were already doing it then, which is why we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
World Economic Forum's like, yeah, you won't own anything. Like, watch it.
Like, yeah.
You think you'll own everything? That's fine. Wait for the peasants to come take it all back.
Yeah, I mean, at some point when, your fragile little system breaks, like...
Yeah, you can only distract people so much before the distraction's not enough to calm their anxiety.
I just don't know what form that's going to come in.
Dude, I don't know.
I don't want to... I want that to happen after my lifetime.
It's not.
Hopefully,
unfortunately, I think we're less than a decade away from it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a little different perspective because I have kids, so I'm like, I'd rather it happen now while they're young and they can grow up in the world that's coming back around to a better place than just go, oh no, it's your problem, because like that's what boomers did to us, so fuck that.
Yeah, well, that I feel like it all falls down to just a lack of education.
Absolutely.
Nobody takes that shit seriously.
Well, then they specifically don't educate certain things in schools. Like when my dad was in school, you had a mandatory American government class, or you couldn't pass high school. I don't even remember when I was in high school, in like the late 2000s. There was no government class. Like you couldn't even take it. So
I was in
specifically keep you ignorant.
I was in a government class. It was my football coach who was the teacher,
Oh, interesting.
and his name was Mr. Irwin.
Okay.
But he was really cool. I love this guy. But he was in a metal band when
Oh,
he was like
nice.
younger. I think when he's like first getting into teaching, he was like
Okay.
in a metal band with the science teacher at the same school. Like they were in a metal band together, and they both became
That's
teachers at the
gnarly.
same school. Like,
That's gnarly.
yeah, they were both really cool guys. But he was definitely more conservative leaning. Because
Yeah.
like you could just tell by the way he would talk and like he like raise his eyebrows at certain things. You know, you're just like yeah, this guy isn't trying to, sling a political opinion.
As
He was
he
just trying to
shouldn't.
teach government like history like as neutrally as possible.
Yeah, this is what happened.
it's
This
like-
is how it runs. Do what you will with it.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
We need more of. So many teachers.
And then we had we had a lot of teachers at the school who'd talk about Obama, like, you guys make sure to watch the politics and make sure you're paying attention
So
to how great Obama is. And you're
Yeah,
just
it's like, get out of
did
here.
did you just say that in the class? Like, this isn't the place for that. What are you doing?
That's what they've been doing for
Like,
I
holy
don't know,
shit.
20, 30 years. And
Yeah, it's nuts. Some
you
people
see where
just
it's at.
they think they need to use their position in order.
Yeah.
Like they think that is the appropriate place to do it.
Well,
It's just like, well,
the problem comes when someone is teaching children, or anyone for that matter, even if you're talking about college professors.
mhm.
Someone's teaching and they think, I need to help them see the light. It's like, no. You need to help them see the facts
help them see the
and
truth.
let them decide for themselves. That's kind of the whole point of American freedom of religion, anything like that. You're allowed to believe what you want. Give people as much information as possible to make the best informed decision. Don't act like you're the one that knows better.
Yeah.
And, I need to impart wisdom. Well, who the fuck says you know shit? Like, I don't know. And unfortunately, kids don't know. They go, oh, to my teacher, I guess. They know. Go to college. I'm paying this person.
Yeah.
They're a professor. They must know more than me. And it's like, yeah, knowledge
this
and
is the-
intelligence are not necessarily correlated.
Like, this is the definition of indoctrination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, literally indoctrination. And it's just like you're learning to be part of a system that gets other people to be part of the system.
Yeah. And
like you're like
I
it's
don't want to
crazy.
push it all on teachers because parents fail. They fail
Well-
everywhere because they go, oh, the school needs to teach this stuff. And it's like, and they just, at school you learn, at home you do other things. And it's like, no, that's kind of your job as a parent to teach them. You just can't teach them everything they technically need to know in today's society. So you send them to school, but it's your job to cover what the school doesn't, and they don't do it either. So it's a
Yeah.
twofold problem.
Well, yeah, there's been too much emphasis on the public school being
Yeah.
like the central learning system for all the American people.
Yep.
But that's like not. I don't even know if that was a good idea in the first place.
It wasn't.
You know what I mean? Like
it's definitely not.
Like I've heard people talk about it. I can't regurgitate the information very well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard in a while, but I've definitely been wanting to pick up a book on like how the public education system started.
Oh, they modeled it off of early Russian socialism
Yeah.
in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe, just maybe, that wasn't the best way to keep going when we saw how that turned out. Like,
Yeah,
at that point, like, we didn't know exactly where socialism and communism was going because, before World War II and Cold War and all that. But, like, when we saw that, maybe we should move something around. But no, they just kept it.
Yeah, it was just like a really old like propaganda technique
Mm-hmm.
for like getting children to be loyal to the nation
Well, not
more than
yeah.
just like knowing things. It's not about knowledge. It's
No.
about getting your kids to be fucking loyal to the nation
And worker
so that
bees.
they'll go to war for you.
Well, exactly.
Pretty
How much
much.
is it sit down and shut up?
Yeah.
Don't talk out of turn. Oh, you have something to say? Well, I didn't call on you. Keep it to yourself. And it's like,
Yeah.
fuck that.
You need to not question things and be
Okay.
loyal.
Yeah, the founding fathers, did they sit there and shut up? No, they were all eat a dick.
They didn't have public school.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing. It's like, how do you think people got educated before this? Do we think people were
They
just
did.
Neanderthals in like the late 1800s?
Yeah,
No, like your home life, parents would figure out how to teach you shit, you know, and what you need to know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how like how what about all the people before the public school system came about? You know,
They were fine.
well, I don't know about fine,
Okay,
but
they were.
they were probably more creative.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean,
There's
they're definitely more creative.
There's more variance as far as like how people got to certain solutions. So
absolutely.
you have more options. Now it feels like everything is just so cookie cutter now. Everyone learns the same fucking thing, which is
It
fraction
is.
of what we should know. But
Yeah. Well, and back then too, you'd have, you know, whole family lineages where they're like, we're blacksmiths or we're musicians, we're this, you know, and we're farmers, that type of thing. So, and you would have a community. You know, you'd know the people around you. Like, how many of your neighbors do you know by name?
in the apartment complex, oh, none of them.
Exactly. And even people that live in neighborhoods barely know anyone. They maybe know the people that live right next to them.
Yeah,
There's no community, you know.
No,
so you'd
not
have
at
a
all.
community, and you'd have those guys. You know, that family's the blacksmiths, that family's the leather workers. You know, so you'd have a collective consciousness of knowledge.
This is what church was for.
And
This was
helped.
literally what church, like the gatherings for church, was to
Absolutely.
get the community into one spot.
Right. And you'd have, hey, let's
Yeah.
all figure out how to fix this problem, because everyone has a slightly different bit of knowledge. Let's share it all together. Now everyone knows the same knowledge, and it's not even that much.
Yeah, the
So-
easy access to knowledge is, I think, I don't know. I think it's taken for granted, but we're also using it in a way like because we're taking it for granted, we're not using it at all.
Yeah. Well, easy access
know.
to knowledge became easy access to distraction. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you only have so much mental focus in a day to learn something or, you know, search for information and not have to just rest your mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard to do all that when you're going to work and doing everything, you know, at whatever else you have as far as responsibility.
Well, I mean, the idea that it's at your fingertips makes you complacent to the fact that you need to keep learning things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you feel like you don't have to like I don't have to look into that.
Yeah, I can look it up whenever I need
I
it if
could
you want
Google it when I need it. Like or you know, I don't have to like I see it in myself, dude. I Google Maps. Like I'm so fucking lazy when it comes to driving in the city now. Dude, I don't remember shit anymore. I look it up on Google Maps and I'm like, oh, there it is. And I just follow the fucking line. I'm like, oh, it's on that corner and this. Okay, there. Like, and then
Do you
as
use
soon
the
as
navigation too all the time?
well, I can look at a map and memorize the navigation. So I'm like, and I know Phoenix so fucking well.
Yeah.
I know every like I've worked in jobs that take me all around the city.
I've done the
So
same
it's
thing.
like I know the city really well, and I can look at the line on the map and be like, oh, it's over here in Tempe. I know that corner. I can get there, and then put my
Yeah.
phone away. But if you told me like, hey, where is that fucking EG's we went to last week? Like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I gotta look it up. Like, what corner was it on? Was it on
okay,
7th
yeah.
Avenue and Union or something? Or like Bell? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just really bad at memorizing anything anymore. Because it's like,
You don't need
it's
to.
at my, it's in
Well,
my pocket.
You probably had this as a kid. All your friends, and then probably your home number. You memorized all those phone numbers. You had them in your head, or else
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know how to call
I
them.
had a lot of them.
How many people remember anything other than like their spouse or significant other's phone number and theirs? Almost no one.
Well, I have the ones that I did have memorized. I still like I can memorize my first phone number still. Like
Yeah.
I still have that. I still have my parents' old home phone number.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have a home phone anymore. Or if they do, it's because they put it down for spam or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then they just unplug it. Like they don't.
Yeah.
You know? But they use like I know their cell phone numbers. I know like old friends' numbers and stuff, but new ones.
No
If
one's
I meet
memorizing
people, like, shit, I don't even ask for people's phone number. I just hit them on Messenger because
That's the
almost
thing.
everyone has Facebook. So
Well, it's like so many things. You didn't have a storage for memory, so we had to use our memory to store things. And
Yeah.
we're not using that anymore. You know, brain's a muscle, man. You get it. You don't memorize things. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose the ability to remember really easily. That is a practice, you know. But we've lost that completely.
yeah, it's true. It's almost like reading.
It is.
You know,
Oh
like
my god, so many people readings going down because of audiobooks, which is not bad. If it's you can do more things with an audiobook and you know
yeah,
not just
I was
sit
actually
reading, but-
I was just talking about that with my girlfriend today. Like how people just don't read anymore.
I don't.
It's like you have to like, you know, make audio things. If you're
Yeah.
if you're going to, write anything, you almost have to like make an audio version.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
so more people can consume it. It's like a majority of the audience isn't reading.
It's weird.
It is kind of weird, but it makes sense logically. You can do things while you're listening. You
Yeah.
can't do things while you're reading.
Well, the other thing is like we're so focused in America, especially on like productivity.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get something done 24/7, and we burn ourselves out to begin with. But it's like the brain does not do well with multitasking. I don't care what anyone says. They try to say, but it's like when you're trying to soak up real information and listening to it while you're doing something else, unless it's literally just a repetitive, like you're washing dishes, takes no brain power, then you could be fine. But anything else that takes any type of focus, you're just wasting time. You're not focusing on either of them very well, and you're not soaking it in. But I don't think that many people are listening to real information books. They're mostly just like listening to podcasts or
I was trying to
smut
listen.
book the ladies are into these days.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Fucking some fan fiction off of YouTube.
Something like that. Yeah, there's enough of it.
But I was trying to listen to Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock.
Oh,
Like I was trying to
I bet
listen
that
to
one's
it,
good.
dude. It's so crazy. There's so many things he lines up. They're just like in every single chapter. He's just like, and then there's this crazy thing, and it looks like this, and it's like, how did they know this and this and this, and what about that?
just dropping
And
bombs
then it's like,
left
and then
right.
chapter 2, there was this crazy thing, and you're just like, what? Like, dude, I don't even.
My mind can only be blown so
and
many
I'm-
times.
and I'm
in
sitting
an
here
hour.
trying to I do AV work.
Okay.
So I'm like pulling wires through like office buildings and stuff, and I'm like setting up TVs and cameras, and I'm like listening to this shit like while at work, just what the fuck? Like I can't concentrate on work
No.
because the information is just totally taking over.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm trying to imagine like these ancient societies and how they're like have these crazy knowledge of the stars and stuff, and I'm like
Yeah.
trying to label a fucking cat cable, like I try to do this simple work, and I'm just stumbling. Like I don't know. I know what you mean though, but I'm particularly bad at multitasking though. I've noticed.
I think a lot of people are.
Some
more-
people are pretty good at it.
Some
like
people.
they can do simple tasks like multiple ones at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not very good at it.
I think most people are worse than they like to admit at it.
I think so too.
And they
I think
I'm a great
there's-
multitasker. I'm like, yeah, what's your
There's
efficiency
some
level?
some sort of confirmation bias.
Oh, it's like
Like whenever it goes well, they remember it. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
They don't
I am
remember all
really
the
good
times
at it.
Didn't work.
Yeah, and then the times it didn't work, it was just like whoops.
Yeah,
Like-
I get that. I used to work at a door manufacturer, like custom doors, and it's all woodworking stuff. And I'd find myself sometimes having to go back and re-listen to something because, like, you're dealing with a blade spinning 10,000 RPMs, and you're like, I could lose my fingers right now. Maybe I should pay attention. Sometimes it's just mind-numbing BS, but
Yeah.
it's like, nope, we can't multitask, and it's just the way it goes. Admit it and move
Yeah.
on.
Luckily, my job isn't all that dangerous.
Nah.
Sometimes when you're up in a lift, like hanging a speaker,
Yeah.
I'm not listening to shit when I'm not
No.
there. I don't have earbuds in, like, unless I'm just doing some bullshit task where I'm just,
Yeah, wire
like,
this, wire that.
yeah, really simple stuff. But if it's anything like dangerous,
Yeah.
definitely putting that shit away. Like,
yeah. I don't think most of us are doing anything too dangerous these days. So
I
they're
see
just
people
like-
doing crazy shit all the time.
Some people just do dangerous stuff and are just like, oh, okay, they're just totally distracted, and I'm like, how do you do it? Like, I've done a ton of woodworking, and I have seen so many people with big ass scars and stuff, and I'm like, how are you so complacent that you let that accident happen? And they're like, oh no, I was just distracted, and I'm like, I don't know.
I can't imagine it, but I mean, I was an electrician for a while, and I've shocked myself.
Oh,
It fucking hurts, but it's like, I don't know, like it happens, but electricity is different because you can't see it.
no.
So it's like you accidentally touch something that's invisible,
yeah.
and just like you connected the circuit. Bzz.
Yeah, it's a lot of your conscious
Like,
awareness.
God damn it! Like,
That'll bring it
but
back
it's
into
like
focus
you
real
know,
quick.
you try to pull an outlet out of a wall box. You try
Oh.
to pull an outlet out, and it's still hot. You forgot to turn the breaker off or something.
Oh.
Like, bzz, and your hand just, oh
Nice and
man.
numb for a while.
Yeah, you gotta like shake the nerves back into it.
Oh,
So crazy.
yeah, I don't like electricity.
I've only felt 120. I haven't felt anything higher than that.
That's probably good.
So I've heard people talk about 240. It like fucking launches you like
Yeah, when I
it
was
goes up your whole arm.
I don't know how much it was when I was a kid. We had a couple cows because I lived way out in the middle of nowhere. We had an electric fence to keep them on, and I got hit by that thing a couple times. It was like 10,000 volts. I don't know what
Yeah,
it was,
10,000
but
volts.
yeah, I tell you,
Man,
man,
that's like a taser.
shit'll make your whole arm go numb.
Yeah, dude.
I used to get my brother to touch it all the time. It was great. It's a good time. I was being to that kid, but
That's awesome.
yeah.
Fucking electric fence. I remember there was one in my neighborhood as a kid, and there was a bird hanging upside down on the wire for like months, dude. I remember we'd always like ride past it, just,
Done for.
you know, like wave to it, whatever. It's like,
Oh
hey,
man.
hey buddy. It's
Yep.
like,
It's like, how's it cooking?
poor bird,
Jesus. Yeah, well, you know, natural selection. Figure it out.
right out of the gene pool.
Yep. We don't have enough of that these days, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. It's all this modern medicine and bullshit like that. Got too much going on.
Medicine's not the problem. It's the warning labels that's the problem. Because, like, if you got to warn someone of something that obvious half the time, it's like, just let them do it.
Yeah.
Let them take it because, like, you're an idiot. I think, yeah, too much safety. Too much safety. Because you see so many
Too
TikTok
much
videos
safety.
and all this stuff, someone doing something completely idiotic that's like,
Yeah, they.
should be common sense.
Well, the problem is they've probably already had kids,
Oh, God.
and now their
that's
kids
the
are just
worst
not gonna have a dad. So it's like, what do you do?
I don't know, man. Like I said, take the warning labels off of stuff. Let people have to think about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's safe. We're safe by this and that. It's like, no, the world's dangerous. It's always been dangerous. Maybe you should take it seriously.
Yeah, the toys too.
Oh, God. Toys these days, man.
Take the warning labels off all those toys.
You know how many times I
That's,
just let my kids get hit with shit, and I'm like, they look at me crying. I'm like, dude, I told you once, don't do that. And you
Yeah.
did it. It's on you at that point. You learned, didn't you? I mean, as long as they're not going to lose a finger, it's like, yeah.
Letting your kid use power tools and shit. You're like, well, you'll learn.
It's like old Jeff Foxworthy joke. How he's pulling the TV down. I was like, let him pull the TV on his head. He'll learn. And he's like, yeah. Just learn by experience, man.
Yeah, I've done some stupid stuff as a kid.
God, haven't we all?
Broken bones for that.
Oh, yeah. I'm there. Done that. But see, that's where I had an older sibling that was an idiot. We just test shit on him all the time.
I learned from my older brother a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did stupid shit, and I'd be like, I'm never doing that.
Exactly. You just watch
Never.
him. Nah, that didn't work. I don't think I want to do it.
Yeah, no. Like, he would always do something first, too. It was cool.
Uh-huh.
He'd be like, I'll do it. I'm not a pussy.
Oh,
All right.
God.
All right, dude.
So
Go for it. And then he just eats shit. You're like,
it's the older
not
sibling
doing that.
shit. And the older but see, here's the problem is me and my friends got the bad idea, and we're like, this could go wrong.
Yeah.
Let's go get my brother. Like, hey, we got this thing. We don't know if it's going to go good. And he'd always be like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. This is how it could go wrong. He's like, no, it'd be fine. All right, I warned you. Yeah. Proceed.
Yeah.
Too bad we didn't have fucking cell phones, then we could film it all.
Right. Yeah. It was the same with me. I grew up when cell phones were just developing cameras, you know? I was in like probably 7th or 8th grade when they could take pictures.
Yeah.
And then like in high school, you could take like 10-second videos.
Yep.
It was like that 25-second videos. And then you could take like a whole minute, just like, holy shit, dude, this is a long ass video.
Yeah.
It's like,
terrible quality.
yeah, like, I don't know what, 120.
I don't even know, man. It was just pixelated bullshit. You're like,
120
what
like,
is that?
pixels. Like, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
It's good times. We had to actually do shit to be entertained. It's like I tell my kids all the time. They're like, I'm bored. Fucking do something. What do I do?
Yeah,
I don't know. Use your imagination.
Don't you have friends? Like, they're not online.
It's like, well, neither are you. So figure something out.
Man, I remember when it all switched to online stuff.
It's the worst.
It was like just getting out of high school.
Yeah.
And everything was just online
Everything was.
at that point.
The only time at that point, all I used Facebook for was like, hey, we want to go play basketball or do this. Who's down to go with me? It was literally organizing to get together in person.
It used to be a social network.
Yeah,
Now
now
it's
it's-
like, I don't know, social dumpster fire.
Yeah. Oh God. I think we're past dumpster fire. I think it is spread.
I've literally just been using it to troll people lately.
Yeah.
Like whenever anybody posts something like extremely political, I just jump in. I'm like, oh yeah? Like, well, what about this? And I'll bring up something that's just like a question, not even one way or the other. And they'll just instantly, oh, well, Trump is blah, 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 and this and that. I'm like, I didn't say shit about that.
Yeah.
Like, what
Would
do
you just drop it and run and just watch them all?
I'll keep responding. I'll keep going.
You're just ruining people's day left and right. I love it.
It's only like a few people. There's only a few people on my friends list that post like super like crazy stuff one way or the other. Even I have people that post super right stuff too, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, what about when Trump did that? And they're just like, oh no, blah blah blah.
I think I've burned enough bridges there that I'm like, they're just gone. They're not on it anymore. I don't know. I don't see anyone that posts political anything.
Yeah.
Other than one.
I don't
really old
take
friend.
it too far.
Nah.
If they start posting huge paragraphs and like with all these sources, I'm like, okay, I'm not about to go on a research trip here.
No.
Like I don't have a notepad where I could just copy and paste all my talking points like some of these people.
Yeah.
I'm sure they just have a thing ready to go. Copy paste. Here you go. Check that out.
I've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah. Well, they do. They've probably used it 4 or 5 times, like on their relatives or whatever.
It's super funny though that people want to argue about anything really on any social media because like any study's been done. It's like it's virtually impossible to change anyone's mind. All you do is get them to double down, and it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I mean, as far as this goes specifically too, like the media has charged it so much, like over the last like few decades.
Oh, absolutely.
Like TV got super popular in like the 80s and 90s, and the politics just got crazy.
Yeah, it was
so
weird.
They've just supercharged the right versus left.
That's all it is, man.
And it's like you're never gonna change tribes to the other extreme.
No.
Like you might fall off your tribe and be like, oh man, what the fuck was I thinking? Like,
hopefully
you're never gonna be like, I'm conservative now.
Yeah, you don't just switch.
I hate conservatives. I'm liberal now.
Yeah,
like that's not gonna happen, dude. There's too much that has to go wrong.
It's not like the old movie thing where something bad happens. And they're like, no, they really are evil. I'm just gonna go to the other side and fight them now. I'm like, that doesn't fucking happen.
Some anime. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
I'm waiting for a political anime to come out.
Oh god.
Where they have like debates and the audience is like,
oh god, they would make that so dramatic. It'd be great.
The Trump character comes out like
just blames everyone for eating cats.
They're just debating for the world leader.
Oh god.
The world president.
God.
Like
I find it all so funny when it comes to the politics and like the left and the right both were like, if the other person gets elected, it's the end of democracy. And
this
I'm like,
country's over.
You literally can't have both parties saying it's going to be in a democracy if the other one gets, because then it's like, well, guaranteed into democracy, and then we should just storm the gates as it is, right? And also, it's like, yeah, that's you're fear mongering. It's not going to happen, man. It's like, This isn't going to be the last election, I take the Lex Fridman approach where he's like, I don't think either way it's going to be near as bad as either side's trying to say it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, both sides are trying to make it dramatic on purpose.
Absolutely.
They're trying to make it dramatic.
Yeah.
Like Trump has said that in an interview that he's literally just throwing it back at them because they keep escalating shit. He's like, well, if they call me names, I gotta call them names.
Yeah.
They call me a Nazi, I gotta call them a communist.
It's so
he's
funny.
It's like a shit talking battle for him.
Oh yeah.
The left is like, how do we take this guy down? And it's just like both sides are just total garbage.
Oh, it's the worst.
Like, holy shit.
It's fucking worst.
I don't know.
It's funny though. Well, it's like
I like watching it.
Oh god.
I think it's fun.
I didn't get to see this debate, but like the one between the last election between Biden and Trump, I listened to that because I was driving Uber at the time, and it was it was funny.
The last presidential election they did, or the presidential debate they did.
Yeah. No, not that one. I'm talking about the last election.
Oh,
when we elected Biden.
Got you.
I listened to that debate, and it was so funny. I was like, it's like satire. I'm like, dude, my toddlers can have a more back and forth coherent conversation.
You're talking about when Trump was just cutting him off over and over?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
That was bad, dude.
It's funny, man.
That guy does not do himself any favors. Like in front of the camera, he does some stupid shit.
It's like, the best though. It's like it's like this is the best reality TV you can ever get because it is not scripted, and it's like perfect satire for stupid shit. It's like, this is just live. It's like, way to go, America. You've turned into MTV for the world.
The last one he did was like almost sad, dude. It was sad to watch it. Just because like he was just like gibbering through stuff, you know, and Trump was sitting there like I don't know what to do. This is I can't senile he is. Yeah, I can't talk shit about this guy right now.
He's all you can do is pity him and like,
yeah, exactly.
Man,
he's just like, there was one quip he had where he's just like, they're just like, he said something about immigration and turned it into something crazy. It turned it into something else. And they asked him, he's like, and Trump, how do you respond to that? And he goes, I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said. And here's what I think about immigration. You know? Oh my God. Just like, and it was just like so obvious. Like he was just like, I don't want to beat this guy into the ground too hard.
You're like, it's sad. At that point, then you're just a bully, and it's like,
yeah, exactly. He didn't want to come off as an asshole because his last debate with him, that's what he did. Yeah, he just interrupted him the whole time and totally
screwed it up. He was at least a little bit more like Biden was a little bit more coherent then, but not by much.
Yeah, now it's like, oof. I don't know.
I don't know, man. The family putting him into that, it's like, that's elderly abuse. You need to let that guy go to a home, please.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's a few of them. Like, you know, the Supreme Court.
Oh,
they just have a lifetime lifetime appointment. So they can just go until, you know,
until they die. It's like,
so you don't even know where your chair is.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you deciding what's legal for the country?
It's stupid. After 60, it's like, okay, you need a cognitive test, and if you can't pass it, sorry, you're not competent enough to run.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're the ones that would, you know, make that law, so they're not going to do it.
Yeah, something. I mean, why is there no requirement for like? Why is there no like physical requirement? Wouldn't that be cool if our president was like physically fit?
Well, if
wouldn't that be a better?
If you're physically fit, you would be more cognitively.
I think that data. There. I think that's a fact at this point. That's like a known fact.
That's like the number one thing you can do to prevent cognitive decline is physical activity your whole life. So if someone's physically fit, they're not likely going to decline near as much as they get older. And it's like, we don't have that. Remember when tribes, when we used to elect the actual strong motherfucker that knew how to make hard decisions and shown he knew what he was doing? Now it's just like, hey, I'm an old fuck and haven't done anything worthwhile. I just talk shit. So believe me. And it's like, yeah, that guy. What? Yeah, it's a sad world.
Well, everyone just wants to drain the swamp, you know?
I don't know, man.
There's 2 swamps.
Yes, there are 2 swamps.
It's 2 swamps. It's sure all the same.
I'm sure you drain both of them. You're going to find some bodies in that swamp.
There's not even a wall between them. It's just 2 swamps mixed together.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. And they drew an arbitrary line.
Yeah, you can.
This is my swamp. That's your swamp.
Pretend you're going to drain it. It'll just be half full.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I'll drain their swamp. Why is mine going down too? I don't think about it.
Oh, they know. They want a smaller pool. They'd love it.
Everyone would, man. Power corrupts. That's the way it is.
I don't know. I think there is a faction that wants the government to be as big as possible. I think that's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah, we know that. Yeah, that's just
because anyone talking about, you know, downsizing the government is like fucking, you know, written as like a crazy person.
Yeah. Oh, you're crazy.
You know, yeah, I think if they're framed as crazy and radical and like, no, we need a smaller government. Like,
yes,
it needs to happen.
Okay, it was supposed to be more left up to the states, and the federal government just kind of did what it needed to keep everyone safe. Mm-hmm. And now it's like they got so much oversight. Well, you're not going to get government funding if you don't do what we say. It's like, well, that's not government funding. That's blackmail. So, pretty sure we could do without that bullshit now. But,
yeah, I'm just kind of upset that the libertarian name kind of got like co-opted by a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Oh, you're a liberal, and now you're just like this. That is overly left wing. It's like, wait a minute, I'm classically liberal in the center, but I can't even call that because like, oh, you're a liberal. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, libertarian. Like there's the Libertarian Party it has a bunch of people in it that are like just way too far. Like, you know, I should be able to do whatever I want. You know, I should be able to fucking jack off in the street in San Diego. You know, those kind of libertarians. You know, and it's just like. The people that are like
behind a bush.
Yeah, there's like some pretty extreme fucking people on that in the Libertarian Party. But then there's like the other side of it, where it's like people who are more reasonable.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe we shouldn't just leave our border wide open. Maybe we shouldn't
Yeah.
maybe we should talk about the public school system and maybe not have it so federally like
Yeah.
captured.
And those are nice people to have. And then you have the left and right go, shut up. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're like, no, you're just crazy libertarian.
Yeah.
Look at the people at your rallies, and you're just like, oh god,
Yeah.
that's not all of us. Like, you guys need to go take over the Democrats. Like, go take over their.
That's their whole thing, though. It's like, oh, you're right. Even like you're just barely into being right. Like, oh, you're a right wing fundamentalist.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you're a little bit left. You must be a crazy liberal that wants all. It's like, what? You're
Yeah.
one or the other. There's no spectrum anymore. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, there is a small group of people who take it to the correct direction, where it's like, do we need a government? Probably.
Yes.
There's some emergency services that need to be like paid for. That there's things that need to happen. We need a military, because you're not gonna have no military and then just
you're gonna get taken over.
Yeah,
immediately.
Like, why do you think nobody's been on U.S. soil? The
military.
Well, besides Hawaii.
Yeah, well, they weren't even on U.S. soil. They just flew into it.
Yeah, I mean, parts of them were on U.S. soil.
Yeah, parts of them, pieces. They weren't.
Not good.
Yeah, no, not a good day.
Holy shit!
Not a good day.
But don't want that to happen again. That's the point. But so we need the government to an extent, but not so involved as it is now.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be in the lives of every individual person.
Like, we could cut it in half and it would still work just fine.
Absolutely. We'd save money.
A lot of money. Yeah, dude.
God.
Well, there's a lot of reasons we have no money.
Oh, we know that.
Just the free fucking check we have for whatever military supplies.
Yep.
We're gonna send to whoever we want.
Yeah, well, again, that's just it's all money driven, man. It's all people get paid for all this shit. So why would they make it stop? It's like, well, maybe we should stop letting the people with money just take it that easy.
What do you do? What do you do as like just a single?
You don't.
You
got to have everyone collectively be so stressed out and over it that they all decide to say fuck it at once.
Something has to break.
So that's unfortunately when you have 300 million people in a country, something's going to have to break.
I wish there was another way. Like, I'm always trying to think like, what else could happen?
Well,
because I don't want to. I don't want the society to collapse, because I don't want to starve. I live in a place where there's a lot of people, and all the food's gonna go away like super fast.
Food's not what you gotta worry about. We're in a desert. All the water gets shipped here.
Yeah, well, the water for sure, but there's ways to get water. There's not gonna be a lot of ways to get food in the desert. There is a river, like, you can process water.
Yeah.
But as far as like food, fucking, you got to ship that in.
Yeah.
And gasoline, there's gonna be no gasoline. You have to ship that in.
Yep. Well, it's like, it just depends, like, on what you mean for food, because I know where the deer are. I've looked for them for that exact reason.
I know a lot of people who say fuck hunting season.
Well, dude, here's the thing: is even now, if something was to hit so bad in the economy to where I couldn't feed my family, no fucking law is going to tell me I can't use the earth to hunt. And if you stand in my way, I'm going to shoot right through you.
How many people are saying that exact same thing?
Oh, I've said that for a decade or more.
Yeah, all I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, I need to go hunt.
Yeah, but how many people actually know how? How many people know where the deer are? How many people have done hunting enough to know how to do it? Because it's not just, let me go out in the wilderness and find something to shoot. Yeah. It's not that easy. You got to know where they're at. You got to know where they're at, what time of day, what time of year.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. But how many people have spent the time to look and find them and know?
There's going to be... in Arizona, I feel like there's a pretty big hunting population.
There is.
There's a lot of people who go hunting in Arizona.
There's a good amount.
So it's like people want to say it's like a purple state, but I think it's just because a bunch of people moved here.
That's exactly why.
But the people who are native Arizonans, like, there's a lot of hunters, and that's why there's so many sporting goods stores everywhere in Arizona.
Well, a lot of hunters go really far north.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know where the deer are that aren't super far north, you're not going to be having near as much competition.
Yeah. There's like mule deer out there you could get easy.
Absolutely. absolutely. I know. It's like I
You could
went
fucking
years
go
ago.
east. There's plenty of shit to shoot out east.
Plenty
Go
west,
towards
too.
New Mexico.
There's a lot of deer
Yeah.
west. It's just depends on the time of year.
I was
got nowhere to go.
working out towards New Mexico, almost like right on the border.
Mhm.
It was like a couple months ago. I was out there, and I saw a fucking antelope.
Jesus.
Yeah, like there's antelope out there, like east. And then
Yeah.
I saw a herd of bighorn sheep too.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
We have
shit,
those here.
dude! I've never seen one of those like in person. You know, I was like, holy
Yeah.
fuck! There's like 10 of them right there. It's just driving by on this highway. It's just flat as hell. There's nothing.
Dude, they're
You
just
know?
like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, they're just like chewing grass, dude. But yeah, I saw crazy. I saw a bat. I saw all sorts of weird animals when I was out there in Phoenix.
Nothing. No.
Actually, at the apartment
Nothing but
here, there's
scorpions.
javelina living here in this little ravine.
Oh yeah, because you're close
the
enough to
freeway?
over here to the.
Yeah, we see
kinda
coyotes
wilderness.
here too. Actually, like
Yeah.
in the city, you see nothing, but like we're like right outside the fucking bounds, like right outside of the
Mhm.
freeway, pretty much. So
Yeah.
we get a lot of javelina.
Anytime you go directly out, there's always there. Like there's plenty of wildlife, you know.
Like
There-
in the city though, all I see is fucking birds.
Yep.
Just
Hey, that's
pigeons.
the other thing. There's plenty of fucking birds to eat.
Yeah,
Like I got like 20, 30 pigeons a day by around my apartment complex, and like yeah, it's
That's
not
true.
good as eating, but you're hungry.
it's protein.
Yep,
You could survive.
absolutely.
Like I'd be afraid of the ones from QT or like Circle K. They look pretty rough.
Yeah, you cook
I don't know how much engine oil they're drinking.
It won't taste good, but it'll feed you.
Gas. They taste like gasoline. Like,
Gasoline.
start cooking it, they like light up. Shit.
That'd be great. That would be fun.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. There's ways to get food and stuff. You know,
Yeah,
but
man.
I don't want it to break to that point.
There's
but
like
I don't
ducks
know.
at the park. Plenty of people have cats.
That's
I
what
got
I'm
a few.
saying.
You know,
People are like, oh, I don't want to eat my cats.
We could
I don't
start
wanna eat
eating
my
the
dogs.
pets.
It's like, dude, when you're starving, I could see. Here's the thing, though. It's like I could see keeping a dog because dogs you can use for hunting and stuff. Cats, they're not good for shit.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, sorry, buddy.
Well, I mean, there's certain dogs that aren't good for anything.
Yeah, right. Chihuahuas.
You can do that Shih Tzu.
Yeah, you can take one of those out.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I don't know. I don't know how good the meat would be on a Shih Tzu.
I have no idea.
Probably not much.
If you're starving, it's gonna taste great. I think it's gonna
Yeah,
taste good when you're
something.
starving, man.
Yeah, let's make some stew.
Yeah,
Shih
absolutely.
Tzu stew.
There you go. That'll work. Throw some potatoes in there, carrots. You'd be all right.
Terrible, dude.
Hey, man, do what you gotta do to survive.
No, that's true. You're right. Have you ever had horse?
Mm-mm.
I would try it.
I'd totally try it.
I've never had it before, but I know like people in European countries that eat fucking horse.
Yeah, why not?
It's I don't know how normal it is, but it's probably as normal as like buffalo here.
That's the funny thing. We drew lines. These animals, we can't eat those because
Yeah.
we're emotionally attached to them. And I'm like, why? Like, yeah, I'm not gonna go eat my cat because I like my cat and I have no reason to. I can go buy food right now, but it's like, why is that off the menu just because it's cute? I don't understand.
It's off the menu if it doesn't taste good. You know, if you can't get
Yeah.
it to taste good, like what the fuck are you eating it for?
Yeah, well, I
Like,
think
what's
that's
the-
part of it. We found other things that taste better, and we
Yeah,
don't
dude.
have to eat these things. But still.
I the last time I was hunting, I got a javelina. I didn't eat it.
Really,
It was so gross.
you gotta
was
cook
disgusting.
game meat very differently. You gotta spice it very differently.
Well,
Javelina
just
especially.
the javelina especially. Like I couldn't even find it. The only things I could find on how to cook javelina were like sausage mixed with like a shitload of pork.
Yeah,
Like, or chorizo or
there's
like
some Stacy fucks.
like all just mask all of it. It's like what the fuck is the point? Like
Well, and the point is you don't have to pay near as much for the meat
I guess
over long periods of time.
I
Like
want
that's
I want a deer or an elk. That's what I really
Yeah?
want. Like that would be amazing.
You ever gone deer hunting?
Yeah, a long time ago. And I was like
Okay.
younger. Like my dad and grandpa used to take me and my brother hunting all the
Okay.
time. We would go as like a family all the time.
Yeah.
I never got a deer or an elk though.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't know how to hunt. I learned that later in life.
You know
It's
what
like,
you do?
we weren't doing it right at all.
Nah. Yeah. It's really easy. So
we
if
were
you,
hiking with a gun. Like,
in other states you can do that. Here, find a watering hole and wait.
yeah,
Because
I
they'll come
mean,
in morning and they'll come at dusk, and you
and-
just gotta
and
wait.
there was a couple times we did actually get elk to come into a watering hole like that, and we were in a blind and all that. But they were bucks. We were on a cow hunt. So it's like every time we saw them, they were the wrong fucking deer, wrong
yeah,
elk.
that
And
happens.
it's like,
There's not
God
much you
damn
can
it.
do.
It's like, it was cool to see them. They're like 30 feet away playing in the water. They're literally like playing,
You're
just
like-
jumping around in the water all happy. And I was like, that thing is fucking huge.
Yeah. Oh, dude, elks are enormous.
Yeah.
People don't realize how
Yeah,
fucking
and
giant they
My
are.
dad told us later, he was like, I was so scared one of you were going to shoot one of those things. I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to shoot it. I know what I'm looking at. Like,
That's part of. You don't go hunting unless you can identify what you're looking at, what you need to shoot. Okay.
yeah,
God.
it's like, man, I'm not going to shoot the wrong one.
No,
Jesus.
that's a hefty fine.
Yeah, that's not good.
I had we went hunting when I was like 12. My dad and his friend went, and we were in like South Arizona. He had a whitetail tag, and he accidentally shot a mule deer because he came running over a hill at him with its ears back, and he
Yeah.
couldn't see the back end, and he just took the shot, and it was a mule deer, and he's like, "Fuck."
Bum, 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 bum.
Gotta go tell someone because he's not gonna try to sneak it out and get way worse. You get like $1,000 fine even with that, and they confiscated the fucking deer and shit. And it's
He
like,
got a
oh.
fine too.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. It would have been worse if he would have tried to sneak it out and got caught. But it's like, God damn, that sucks. Like $1,000.
Yeah, dude. Doesn't that fuck up your hunting license for a while too?
Nah.
No.
Because accidents happen. Well, if you're trying to sneak it out,
That's what I
then-
mean. Sneaking
yeah.
it out. Would they like revoke it or like,
I don't know. I would assume so.
like
They
bar
would do
you
something.
from getting it for a while?
maybe not. Who
Suspend
knows?
you. You know.
I don't have a clue.
Mm.
I just know that sucks. That
Just
was a
don't
lot
do
of
it.
money. No,
Just don't do that.
it. Identify what you're
Yeah.
looking
We used to bird hunt a lot.
Oh, I've done
that
that.
was really fun. That's just
Yeah.
like target shooting.
at. Absolutely. Quail and
Yeah.
dove. It's
I was
nice.
really bad at it as a kid, but when I
Yeah.
got older, I got really good. But like my grandpa kept telling me just lead the shot.
Yep.
'Cause you're using shotguns and
Yep.
the BBs are slow, and I would be leading him way too much.
Just
Over and
way
over.
in
I'm
front of
like,
'em.
yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to lead him. I don't. He's like, no, you got to lead him more. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't. This
You-
can't be right.
You need to go skeet shooting for a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I could just never get it. I could do trap. If they were flying towards me or away from me, I could
Okay.
hit them every single time. And I was like, damn, there's something wrong with this. Like, I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing wrong.
Well, it depends on what shotgun you have because you ever heard of a choke on a shotgun?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you get a heavier choke, like a full choke, your pattern goes smaller,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get further distance before it goes out. So you get a little bit extra time to aim and lead.
Yeah, yeah. We were using wider chokes because we
yeah.
were just shooting at a dairy. So there's just birds everywhere, dude. There was just no shortage of dove flying around.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I mean, they tasted like cow shit. So we literally just made dog treats out of them. We just like fed our dog
long as it
these
doesn't go to
birds.
waste, you
We
know?
ground it up and made like food for the dog and shit.
Yeah.
But so the dairy ones were just eating cow shit all day.
Ugh.
But they were everywhere, dude,
Yeah.
for like hours. They would just be like doves flying back and forth, and you just like blam, blam, blam.
2 hours,
Just
you got
shoot
your
'em out.
bag limit for the day. It's
Exactly,
like, all right, let's go
dude.
home.
You go out for 2 hours, go home. You're just
Yeah.
like it's like an hour drive away.
Yeah.
Super easy.
I was in high school. We lived in Tonopah, man. I would literally just go across the street because like it was just
Yeah.
desert out there. There's a wash. I'm like, I just walk down the wash.
Get some quail.
Yeah, get some quail. Get
Hell
some,
yeah.
Some
Quail's
dove.
good.
Every now and then you'd find a rabbit and shoot it. You know.
Rabbit's good too.
Oh, rabbit's really good. Just don't get a jackrabbit. There's not much meat on. But you
Not
know,
worth it.
hard to
Feel-
identify a jackrabbit real quick. You just see a rabbit and you're like, shoot
I feel like those things are always starving anyways.
it. Pretty
Like
much.
they're just never. They're always hungry.
yeah. Like fucking street meat. Get a good little cottontail though.
I like squirrel. Have you ever had squirrel?
Yes, I have. I haven't done squirrel hunting in a long time.
It tastes just like rabbit.
It is
It's the
very
same
fucking
thing.
good, dude.
But it's cool. They're really easy to just clean real quick and like put over a fire.
Throw a stick
Boom,
on them.
Done.
Yeah. It's
Like
not
really
bad.
nice lunch.
Yeah, it's a nice and easy lunch.
But yeah, whenever I tell people that, usually people who don't hunt, they're always like, "What?
What?
Squirrel?"
You eat
Like-
squirrel? You can eat anything with meat.
Like,
Fuck.
I know
catch
there's
it.
not a shitload of them in Arizona, but there's places where you could easily get some
Flagstaff.
squirrel.
Yeah, anywhere up in Flagstaff, there's squirrel all over the place.
Yeah.
It's nice and easy. Just get a 22.
I think we were in Payson.
Oh, that'll
We
do
were
it
in
too.
like Payson,
Any
so it was
of
like
those-
woodsy area, but
Yeah.
it was yeah, they were all pretty fat. I forgot what season. I forgot like what time of the year we were hunting them in, but we got a couple good ones. They were
Yeah.
cool. But that was fun.
Yeah.
But I think we were hunting with a 22, I think.
Yeah.
You're-
Perfect to get them.
I don't think you're supposed to.
Yeah. That's what I've always done, used because it's nice and easy. And then like birdshot, because they're so small. Like if you use a
Yeah.
shotgun or something, like
What I'm saying,
all
I
the
think it's
pellets are
not.
there.
I think you're not authorized to use a 22 on squirrel. I
Might have
I think you're
changed.
not allowed. I think you're supposed to use a shot, like bird shot.
I don't think it's
But
regular.
I don't
for what
know.
You can use.
I remember looking it up later and we're like, oh shit,
Huh.
like we shouldn't have been doing that.
We always use a 22. I didn't know any better. It's like nice and easy.
Yeah, use pellet gun too. We were trying to use a pellet gun,
That'll do.
but it wasn't. We had to switch back to the 22.
You got to be
and,
really
like,
close
finish
with a
it.
pellet gun.
Yeah,
and hit them just
it wasn't
right there or
good.
something. Yeah, you're like, I'm just injuring shit. God damn it.
Yeah, that wasn't
I
good.
feel like an asshole.
We tried to do it with dove too.
Yeah.
Didn't really work out. You'd have to go chase them down.
Yeah, doves, all that their poofy feathers, man, just impact that and just.
We were kids though. We didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
Nope.
You
Like
know. Young boys,
like-
let's just kill something.
yeah, it's just another dove. Like, oh, get another one. Like,
Yep. You know what I want to see is like if the world goes to shit, I want to watch all the vegans when there's no food and there's nothing but animals to hunt. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'll be sitting over here laughing.
Yeah,
It's
like
oh,
you got a farm ready to go.
yeah, you gonna tell me you're vegan now?
It's like
Let's
I don't think you prepared your farm.
Yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
walk right next to him with a squirrel. Hey man, how's it going? How's those vegetables you can't grow in Arizona?
yeah, right.
I wouldn't help it. I'm just.
Like,
a
how's your
dick.
corn?
Yeah, how's the corn? Is that
Just
nourishing you
eating-
real good?
Eating corn for a month.
Yep.
It's like you're gonna get real skinny.
It's okay. That's when natural selection will work because there'll be enough dumb fucks that try to hold to their ideology and just starve to death. And you're like,
Yeah.
problem worked out.
You know how much water it takes to grow soy?
Oh my God.
You're not growing soy here.
No. That's why I love Ted Nugent. And he talks. You ever seen Ted Nugent go off on like soy fields and vegans? It's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I've seen it. Ted Nugent's the man, dude.
I love Ted Nugent.
He's fucking hilarious.
Crazy as shit, but my God, he's funny.
Yeah. The farming thing is crazy though. Farming's all fucked up. It's pretty nuts.
And in Arizona, it's so difficult. It's
Yeah.
so difficult. to
And
farm.
I feel like we've just developed this way of farming that's just like the wrong way to do it. And we're
Yeah.
just full steam ahead.
Yep.
Like, wrong way, don't care.
Yeah,
Keep farming.
It just works. Let's not try to shift. It's like,
And now we're taking the farms out.
yeah,
And it's like, wait. I don't think that's the right move either.
no, they're
Like
just
something's wrong.
making bad decisions all around.
Yeah. I
All
feel like we
around.
have this huge problem globally. It's just rampant incompetence everywhere. It's like we don't have skill, we don't have talent anywhere in
Yeah.
places where it matters. So it's like
Well-
a whole bunch of unqualified people in every walk of life,
Yep.
on every level. Like for some reason, just every system, there's people slipping through the cracks and
You have
rising
no
to
real
the top.
vetting process.
Yeah. Everyone's afraid to like vet people
you
and
don't
look at your
have-
qualifications.
Well, yeah, well, this is one thing where it's like sometimes violence is the answer. And I'm sorry, it's true. Because, like, back in the day, if you had a psychopath or a narcissist,
Yeah.
it's like, look at the dating thing, generally women will go and, you have every girl, probably dated some guy that's a fucking asshole, in their early 20s or like late teens. They wanted a bad guy that's just an ass, and then he's just a fucking dick. It's like, no, you're looking for a guy that's capable of violence but knows when to use it, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now we're not allowed to use it on narcissists and psychopaths that are starting to run in corporations and politicians. Because let's face it, you don't get to a career politician unless you're a narcissist. You just don't.
Yeah.
I
mean,
so
I'd say 99% of them.
right. And
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
we put them in place back in the day? You fucking beat the shit out of them when they're being stupid. Now it's like,
Yeah.
you're going to go to jail. There's literally nothing you can do to stop them from manipulating all the people around them. It's like, well, let's get back to some violence and put people in their place. When they talk shit, say they're going to do something, then don't fucking do it. What are you
Right.
going to do? Oh, well, you're not going to reelect me. Maybe if I break your leg for lying, you might be like, maybe I'll tell the truth next time. Just saying.
I want to see a chair fly in Congress.
Gotta be great.
Yeah, dude. I want to see someone jump over a desk and just start wailing on somebody else.
Dude.
Like,
that
solves some problems, dude.
yeah. A world without violence, except for in war, just creates more wars.
Filibuster this. Just like, boom, stop the filibuster. Just start.
Just punching shit. Yeah. It changed some shit around.
Read the Bible now, motherfucker.
I love it. I love it.
Just stop them.
saying, man, we need a little bit more violence in the world. Just saying.
Yeah, but it's not loud.
Not wars.
So you're allowed to just talk forever.
That's what I'm saying. No one's allowed to get punched in the mouth for just letting their mouth run too much. You know? It's like...
Yeah, that would stop it, dude. That would stop the filibuster. You
Yeah.
can keep the filibuster legal, but I'm allowed to beat the shit out of you if you talk for too long.
That's what I'm saying. You know? It's
If
like,
it- if
all right,
it's
you're
not-
running your mouth.
Yeah. If it's not relevant enough, I reserve the right to punch you in the face.
Yeah. You've been off topic for 5 minutes. Time limit's up. Let's go.
I'll let you talk again.
Yeah.
Better be relevant this time.
That's what I'm saying. You need a little bit more like people worried about their person, you know, and then they're
Yeah.
gonna think twice about what the fuck they do.
Exactly.
There's no, like I said, the world's safe. There's no major consequences to you. You know, it's like, oh, what are you gonna do? Sue me? What are you gonna do? It's like
Yeah, it's
material
true.
things are only so much when it comes to you going, oh fuck, I'm gonna get hurt. You're gonna think, or you're not, and you know, works itself out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. There's not enough violence in politics.
That's what I'm saying, man. We used to get that dude, you know, in the tribe that showed he could fuck someone up if they're coming out of line.
I think if we polled America on that, it would surprise everybody. Everybody would be like,
I don't know about that. I think
I think
too
you'd get a
many
solid
people-
20%. And it would be like 20% of people thinks
I
the
probably-
politicians should brawl.
That's what I'm saying,
It's like
dude.
that would be a surprising number. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're like, oh no, you know, if you can't work it out with a civilized conversation, then there's a problem. And I'm like, sometimes someone's civilized conversation is just talking shit and in circles to never get anywhere. And it's like, well, that's why you have all the Congress in session for 30 days didn't figure out shit. And they're like, oh, we're just going to go on a break for a while. And then nothing in the shutdown. And it's like, because you
Government
won't shut the
shutdown.
fuck up and just get on point.
Yeah.
It's a funny world.
It's a fucking stupid world.
Yeah, but that's why we have music. So we can just
Yeah, I wish
hide in that, man.
hide.
Okay, let me phrase.
It's more of
Escape
a
in that
distraction. Yeah, it's an escape.
A little bit. But you know, music's too safe nowadays too.
Well, there's something therapeutic about art, anyways.
Yeah.
Just creativity in general. Like that's something that's woven into like being human as well.
Yeah.
Like so, being creative, like yeah, do that because I think it's healthy. I think it like helps
Absolutely.
your brain and gives you the ability to be creative in other aspects, like solving problems.
Yep.
So if you're gonna be creative, like the best way you can, that's only gonna exercise that muscle.
Yes.
And then your problem solving is probably going to improve. Like it's hard to quantify any of this and actually run studies and make it work, but I mean, logically it makes sense.
Part of the problem with music is it's too safe, especially metal, dude. Metal's safe.
What do you mean safe?
Remember in the 80s and 90s when, you know, you had metal bands being called out for being Satanist and pulling all these other stuff, you know, because they would have political statements. They would
Yeah.
actually be like, fuck the systems that be. That's why we're here. 'Cause
Yeah.
we don't belong. And now I'm going to say it's somewhat popular because there's so many more people listen to it than ever.
Oh, it's
And there's-
growing. It's still growing. Yeah.
And there's plenty of people that listen to it that have a friend group that aren't outcasts that, you know, fit in just fine. And that's good for them. But now metal bands are playing it safe. They're not protesting against shit anymore. Like, yeah, you still have like the hardcore scenes really doing that in a lot of ways. You have certain subgenres, you know, but it's like there's no substance. There's no substance to the lyrics a lot of the time, you know. And if it is, it's just lyrical. They're not driving to do anything anymore because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I could get canceled and then my career's gone. Well, stop worrying. Like, you don't have to worry about that as much anymore, okay? Because you don't need a fucking label. You just need a little bit of ingenuity to get your social media enough to get it out there because there's people that align with you.
Yeah.
You just got to find them. And
I'm honestly not a huge fan of artists using a platform to push a message, but I understand some people use their entire art form to spread a message. And I don't know. I tend to I don't listen to music for lyrics so much.
Most
So
don't.
those lyrics just get lost on me.
yeah.
And
yeah.
so if that is the main point of the band, I'm not the audience. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
any of those bands that are like pushing a message or anything like that, like I usually just don't like it all that much because most of the focus is about the lyrics.
Yeah, and it's like even if it's not, directly political, like trying to push a left or a right or whatnot, like before it was, they were smart enough to be like, the whole system's bullshit and we got a fucking problem. And now if you do have ones that are political, they're very ideologically driven, and we're away from the let's step back and evaluate because something's not right on either side. And no one's trying to bring that to the forefront anymore. Everybody's just like, oh, I'm playing on this nerd thing, I'm playing on that thing, and it's like, man, that's the problem with everything. Everyone's so distracted, and you're either a political something, political commentator on one side or another. No one's trying to rally people like, hey, how many of you motherfuckers are not on either side and don't agree with any of this bullshit? Because I'm sure that's the vast majority, and no one's even trying because they're afraid of getting canceled. It's like, can we stop being little pussies about it? And
or there is a huge number of people that are captured by one side or the other.
There's that too.
So I think that's a huge percentage of it. A lot of people in the middle are, afraid to speak out because they're going against their tribe that they're a part of, and they're going to be outcasted from their tribe, whether it be the right or the left. They don't want to speak up and be like, well, actually, I don't agree with that point, because that's going to cast them out immediately.
Well, my problem is just, why do people care so fucking much about being in that fucking tribe? Because if you cultivate especially music, you cultivate the right thing, you create your own fucking tribe.
That's a human mystery. Why do people want to be a part of tribes? That's old mystery.
It is, but at the same time, if someone got cast out or something was wrong, they wouldn't create their own goddamn fucking tribe. No one wants to create their own tribe. They're like, oh my god, I don't have the tribe I'm in now. I'm like, dude, my safety net's gone. Okay, well,
I think the reason that doesn't exist is because it's not like, it doesn't keep survival in mind. That's not a survival mindset to break off. Or if you got there, you experienced or have some ideas that are taking you out of that tribal mindset where survival is breaking off. You have to be pushed to that point where your survival is leaving the tribe. I don't think a lot of people are there. Maybe they feel the safety in the tribe still.
Yeah, maybe it's just educating them, though. Because it's like, okay, we look at it's like a survival thing, but do people even know what survival is? It's do you have shelter, food, and water? That's all you need in that survival. And they think, oh, I need this thing too, and I need this thing too, and all these modern amenities, or I can't survive. And it's like, how many people have sat for a long time without any of those and realized, oh no, I'm totally fucking fine.
Well, you need community too.
Right. Well,
if you don't have any sort of community, if you don't have like other people,
right,
like to engage with, like then you're gonna go crazy.
Right. Well, that's educating on how to have social interactions, create friends, and it's like, you can do that, and boom, you create your own fucking tribe. That's what I want to get back to in like a metal community, is like create a fucking tribe. It's kind of weird, even if you're not talking ideologically or political or message driven. One thing I'm seeing that's like this big void, it's like you go to shows, right? And 10-15 years ago, when people were playing in metal, everyone in that crowd was fucking moving. They were banging their head, they were moshing, whatever. You go now and everybody's just standing here like this and goes. That's it. There is no engagement.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And I'm like, the basis of music and human experience was a communal thing. A lot of times it started with drums or really rudimentary instruments. But everyone has a fucking voice. And everyone in that tribe, whether they were playing instrument or not, was part of it. And I'm like, how the fuck do we integrate and make music that we can get the crowd to do that, to feel like they are creating the music too, to pull people into this tribal fucking experience again?
Well, if you want to make that ritual possible, there needs to be a good place for the ritual to occur. I think Underground Nile is just too fucking like, it's a cool space to play a hard show like that, but it's unsafe almost to get to like to get too amped up and moving around and
Well, you don't
like
have to do it with violence vibes. You just got to get them sucked into being part of the music somehow. I think it's just I agree it's not the greatest
I know the
greatest places, but it just takes some ingenuity to figure it out.
I know what you're trying to say. It's like the culture has no energy anymore.
Right. Well, it's not
like
it's partially that, but like you think. Okay, so I grew up in a very conservative Christian family. We went to church every week. I don't know if you've been to church or anything.
Same.
Part of religions in a lot of ways, and the reason they develop like this is like there's communal singing where everyone is sucked in, and because music just pulls people emotionally in a way that nothing else can. And when you suck everyone into that, it creates the religious experience. I'm like, how can we recreate that in a show setting? So it's not just the performers, the watchers. So everyone can get that community thing. Like it's pulling that community, like you said earlier, the church was how you got the community. Pull that so everyone's having a collective experience and can feel closer together overall. How do we do that? And that's what I got to figure the fuck out, because that would move some shit in a way that I don't think has been done even in a local music scene in a very long time.
Yeah. That is interesting. I wonder if we could use like the Christian mass as a parallel to try to figure it out. Maybe.
That's my point.
And
that's what I'm running through.
Maybe there needs to be some kind of MC who does like some sort of sermon at the end or whatever.
Yeah, something.
Something to pull people together into the show.
Right.
One thing I've noticed, I'm sure Day Tripper.
Yes.
They do talking throughout their show, and between the sets, like they don't just sit there and go, "Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for coming out."
Yeah, they have a
in the
story.
Back. They're like, "Welcome everyone.
Yeah.
We are here to read from the Marijuana Con." It's just like they just go on this crazy show, and they don't stop until it's over. And it's like that. I feel that community, that kind of like religious experience almost when they're up there, because they put on the show. I feel like maybe a lot of the bands, and maybe even including the venue, like the effort of drawing reality out of the room, making it more of another world inside that venue, maybe there's just not enough effort being put into that part.
That's my thought.
It needs to be more of a ritual. Like when you walk in, you're going to somewhere else.
Yes.
That's my maybe thought. That will help out.
That's what I'm thinking. And Day Tripper's close, but I was like, it needs to go one step further. So like you're creating the ambiance.
Yeah, they're doing a good
this
job.
Thing. Now figure out how to get them to integrate into the music itself. Not just the whole because you see it all the time. Hey, sing this part when we say this and this whatever. And especially if you're not well known, and a lot of the local viewers, they don't engage in that. But it's like figure out a way to get them engaged somehow. To go, even if it's not do this exact thing, you figure out a way to get them to be like, yeah, you have a fucking voice, use it,
Yeah.
Just figure out something to get them to feel like they are creating the music with you at that point in time. And not just, oh, okay, I'm repeating what they want, or I'm singing with the lyrics. It's like, no. We're all creating this right now. We're having this experience of being in the moment and just feeling it and not performing. And that's a barrier I don't feel has been crossed, and it's going to take a lot of thought. But I think if that happens, you'll see a reaction in a way that hasn't been, you haven't seen in a while. You'll get a lot of people wanting to go back because, if you feel that emotional experience, you're like, dude, it's like a fucking mushroom trip. You're like, that was mind blowing, and eventually you're like, dude, I got to do that again.
Yeah,
that shit was crazy. It's like, let's create that somehow. And even if I'm not the first one to do it, I want people to figure it the fuck out, because I feel it would be very transformative.
Yeah,
music and metal can be our religion.
And I think a venue could help out with that if they provide some sort of amenities and let the local scene know what's capable, or what they're capable of doing for the performance.
Right.
If the local scene already knows what they could do with the system, they could put on some crazy shows for even the touring bands coming through, and then they know for a fact like these guys are fucking good. If we could, it could just snowball from there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's just a part on just more effort into the.
That's all it
like
needs.
the music is there. There's so many fucking good bands in Arizona.
Music's there.
It's insane. But like everyone looks the same on stage.
Yep.
So
everyone looks the same, and everyone looks the same in the crowd just standing there. It's like, how do we get them to engage and not just a rehearsed way? How do we do that? But I'm brainstorming. I'm trying to figure it out because that's.
Yeah, you need to bring more bands into the problem even.
Yeah, it could be a collective brainstorm.
Like a coordinated effort to drive more. I don't know.
You could set up a show that has 4 or 5 bands that are all figuring out a way to do it in one big way back to back. It's like if you go to a church in the mass, there's sermons, there's a schedule to it.
Yeah.
And it's like the same type of thing with the bands. Okay, this is the type of thing that we do with this band. This is the type of thing, and it's like this scheduled thing.
Yeah, it's almost like how music festivals are, where they have certain genres at certain times, but there's just not enough. I feel like there's not enough space for that almost.
I don't even think it's space. Like if you look at the old tribe stuff, people were just sitting in a circle around the drums.
Yeah.
And they were getting into it and figuring it out, creating dances. Just if they felt the need to dance. Get the mosh pit going and everybody's just in it,
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to figure that out. I'll think about that for sure.
Oh, please do. Let me know any ideas you have because I want to figure out how to do that because I think it would be something special.
Yeah, I know I've always wanted to. This is like a long off vision of mine, but I was thinking of eventually making a space for the podcast studio to happen, but it like doubles almost as like a stage for a venue as well.
There you go.
So like the podcast would be the familiar stage. The background would be the stage, or the background of the stage would be like the podcast studio, the familiar look from the show. But then the bands are playing like in front of it, and then like the rest of the venue, so that would be like a small warehouse almost.
Yeah.
Kind of thing like that. But it would be cool to do something like that. And that would kind of get like all the bands tied into the same location. And the location could be like the center point, with everybody coming on and having conversations on the show, all in the same venue where the fans can come in and see where all the shows were recorded and everything. Like it all kind of pulls it together. But that would be like a dream scenario.
Yeah.
If I could get the venue to do that, that would be cool.
That would be good.
It's kind of a far off dream.
Yeah. You got a lot to build to before you can get to
absolutely.
that. But hey, maybe. You never know, man. Keep working at it. Anything can happen, man.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
That'd be cool. That'd be the metal church.
See, that's the thing. It's like
that's what I want to make, dude.
Right. It's that community. Like you go once a week and you're seeing all the same people, and especially if you can make it really cheap to where it's not like people are having to shell out the ass. So it's like massively inclusive. Because even if it's cheap, the more people you get, now you can keep it cheap. But
yeah, like there'd have to be a few like a partnership in on it for sure.
Yeah, it would take some coordination for sure. But I hope we can get to that at some point.
Yeah, just to have like some sort of community, man. I feel like everybody's like, still in their own ship.
Yeah, you have pockets. You have band members and different bands that know each other and hang out, and they kind of cross over at shows, but the crowds don't know each other.
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
not seeing the same person in the crowd. It's like, hey, I see you here every week. Let me talk to you, kind of thing.
I know so many people in different kinds of bands, so I end up at different shows. Some of them I feel like I don't belong at.
I do that all the time.
I just and I just see people that like I have never seen these people in my life, and there's like 200 people in this room.
Yeah,
it's like how do I never see these people? Like it's not too far off the same music. It's just I'm not super into metalcore. So.
Well, it's like I went to Leprous last week, and I ran into one person I knew. I was just like, how the fuck is it that I don't know anyone that likes this band clearly enough to come out and see them? And then I found one person, but I was like, that's it? One? It's like, this is weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, like any of the death shows I go to, death metal shows, anybody that's even close to that, or like thrash.
Yeah,
Like I always see people I know at those shows.
absolutely.
You know, I go to like I think I went to an ephemeral show.
Okay.
It's like
No
super melodic, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Kind of genty,
absolutely.
aggressive stuff.
Yes, very. And I went to that show and I was looking around like, yeah, I don't know anybody here.
No.
For sure. Like,
Yeah,
not even close.
Closest I can go to a show that they're on is like Sad Dad, and then I know enough people. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, I don't. But that's not my scene. I don't
No,
care for
not
the
even.
genty style
I think that's a newer generation thing, man.
it really is.
I feel like anyone my age is listening to way heavier shit. And then-
Probably.
And like the newer generation wants like the more melodic and like the clean vocals and all this and like.
I don't mind it. It feels derivative of people who've already done it.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it. It's difficult to be original right now because there's so much shit, but it's like, you can do it.
Yeah.
Just put a little bit extra effort and thought.
Not
Everybody's
everybody.
like,
Yeah.
I want to be the next fucking Toast and Abasi or the next, Misha Mansour. They just like copy the style, and it's like, dude, they already did that.
Yeah. You try to be like the next System of a Down.
Yeah. Well,
Where you make a style you can't copy.
exactly. Well,
Like-
it doesn't help. It doesn't help that they're sitting in an echo chamber. Like Jeff Loomis, the guitarist
Yeah.
Jeff Loomis. That motherfucker still to this day will go to people who are like, I like that guitarist. Let me take lessons from him. So he's got this massive pool over like 40 years of just techniques and different things and influences that's like, these guys, all right, I want to do something from Toast and Abasi, and I want to learn how to play Jet from Periphery. And that's it. And it's like, well, how the fuck are you supposed to sound original when you have two influences?
Yeah.
Like, get out there, man. Figure something else out. And it doesn't help that everybody's got the same fucking guitar tone.
Yeah. And
Everybody's-
same amp.
Well, they're all doing modelers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, don't get me started on modelers, man. Like, I get it. I understand where they're good. But when you're doing that as your main tone, like Helix has a sound, regardless of what amp model you're doing in that, it has a sound.
Yeah.
Cortex has a sound. Kemper has a sound.
Yeah.
And everybody's using the same IRs. And here's the thing: it's like you got amps, but your speakers are like 85% of the tone shaping.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're using the same IR as everyone else, or especially in recording, everybody's like, oh, let me just throw a neural DSP plugin on it, and it's the same IRs. It's like you're gonna sound exactly the same as another motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
it just sounds the same. And it's like, okay, well, you're trying to stand out. Yeah, your music might be a little different, but sonically it's the same too. It's like, do something different. Stop just, oh, my heroes did that, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Like, that doesn't create innovation.
It's like there's only so many heroes in the metal scene right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many bands that are trying to chase Black Dahlia's tone still.
It's easy. It's a 6505 into a vintage 30 cap.
It sounds really good,
Duh.
but it's like once everyone has the same sound, then it's like, yeah, sure.
They can't. Well, it's like that tone's been done a million times, and it sounds different a million different ways. Because everybody's like, "Oh, I want that tone," and they get the amp. They're like, "Why does it sound like that?" Because you don't have his fucking hands. Like, okay, you put Jeff Loomis on any rig, it's gonna sound like Jeff Loomis. You put Brandon Ellis on any rig, it's gonna sound like Brandon Ellis.
Yeah.
Like, can't have that dude's hands. Just figure out your own fucking sound, man. People don't want to do it. It takes work.
Yeah, just figure it out.
Guitarists are lazy. I found that out. They want to say bassists are all the lazy fuckers. Guitarists are lazy.
Well,
as
because
shit.
you can just copy some tabs and like figure something out.
Yeah.
You don't have to create on a guitar. That shit's hard.
It's not. It's really not. Put in a little effort. Learn some goddamn music theory. That's what I see so much people like, oh, I don't know music theory. I just play by ear. Well, that's why you're limited. Because you don't even know all the possibilities. I was like, oh, music theory is limiting. It tells you rules. No. It tells you what works. And then you figure out how to just use that to your advantage. It's not telling you, oh, you have to do this. Who the fuck said you have to do shit? It's like, this just works better. It sounds better to do this way. So use this little trick here, that little trick there. And everyone's like, oh, it's too complicated. And I'm like,
It's
you don't wanna fucking
memorization.
try.
It's like a language, You got to learn the language if you want to speak the language.
Yeah,
That's
but
it. Like,
you get these guys like, I want to do this as a career. Okay. Do you know the language? No. But I want to do it as a career. That I don't think you want to do it as, like, you'd think, like, a physicist. I want to be a physicist. Do you know physics? No. Then how the
Yeah.
fuck you going to do it? I'll play it by ear. It's like that. It's idiotic. Why would you be, like,
I'll just watch him do it.
Why would you want to do something like no other profession? Does someone want to do something and then be so resistant to learning the actual art? Like, yes, people can do it. Like Dave Mustaine doesn't know shit about music theory, works great, but he's the exception. Like, what makes you think you're gonna go into a career and not learn everything you need to know about it, and it worked? It's like that's why they all sound the same, because no one knows all the ins and outs to figure it out. Just pet peeves.
Yeah.
A lot of pet peeves.
Well, I can't talk too much shit. If I equate it to this podcast, I'm going to fall right into that category.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I get it. Like, it's a pet peeve. I don't.
No,
really
it's all right. I'm just joking. I've done this in a way where I'm just copying the people that are at the top. Well, and it's like
that's where
I get it to where it's like the creativity doesn't lie there.
Yeah,
how they're doing
it. Does though. It does though, because like any guitarist, what do they do to start with? They start learning songs from their favorite bands. Mm-hmm. It's how it starts. But if you never shift and go, okay, how can I do my own thing? Then it is copying, and a lot of.
Well, this is just I'm using the same equipment and shit. But I mean,
but that's
I'll never talk like Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, but this is just a medium for good sound. You know what I mean? Like, but your voice is different than Joe Rogan's.
Yeah.
You can use the same amp. That guitarist's hands are different than anyone else's. And if you don't develop it to sound good, or develop your musical vocabulary on your fretboard,
mm-hmm.
you don't know how to speak the language properly. You don't know how to better converse, because it's like, yeah, it's your voice. It's the same shit, same equipment, your voice. But you are going to conjugate a sentence much differently than Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and if you talk like a fucking Neanderthal, people are going to be like, oh, that's not interesting. You know, you educate yourself on a little bit of vocabulary. Okay, now you got something. And it's your vocabulary you like to use. That's signature to you.
I try, but I fail to find words a lot.
That's okay. It's a practice. It just takes time. But that's what I'm getting at. It's like you can copy a lot of equipment and things, but
mm-hmm.
anyone in the creative field, yeah, you copy the people you look up to first. And then, you know, to understand and, okay, here's the basics, here's how things work. What can I do better that feels more like me naturally and not copying them? And that's just an easy route, but it takes work. And one thing I know about musicians, they don't like to work.
Shit, I don't like to work.
No, you know, I don't get it, because like for me, it's not even work, it's an obsession. It's like, if it's not right, I don't sleep.
Yeah, well, I've learned that my favorite thing is, like, some people love playing guitar and writing guitar. Like, that's what they love. They do it and they feel accomplished, and it's great. It's awesome. Like, I've learned over the last, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, I've started to realize it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like this, talking with people one-on-one in, like, long conversation, mm-hmm. like this kind of form, like, that's my instrument. That's what I want to do. I want to have long-ass conversations, because I feel like that's where I feel the most accomplished, when I talk with people and learn about them, and we, like, share ideas and exchange ideas and, you know, come up with new things.
Right.
Like, that's what I like the most. Right. So it's like, how do I do that? Is I make a podcast. So it's mm-hmm. like I try to just make it the simplest I fucking can. Like, I don't want to work on the podcast. That's the part I don't like. Like, most guitarists don't work on their guitar. Mm-hmm. They just take it to the luthier to fucking fix it, you know? Yeah. And so that's kind of how I feel about the podcast. This is just like the instrument. It sucks, dude. It's grueling trying to learn this shit.
But see, that's the thing, is the creative art and the product is you and your conversations, mm-hmm. not the podcast. Yeah. The podcast is the medium for which you do it. It's like playing guitar. Well, do you want to play metal? Do you want to play jazz? Do you want to play blues? It's the median, you know, that you put it through, that you express it.
I enjoy the product of the conversation. Mm-hmm. Having the recording is cool. That's like having the song, you know. But the action of it is what I really like to do. Like, being in the moment of talking. Right. It's like when people, like guitar players, in the moment of playing the guitar is the best part.
Absolutely.
So, like, I like being in the moment of talking, but everything up to that point is work. It's like, and then after it's done recording, like, making it, like, doing the editing and all that, I'm just sitting in a chair and, like,
anything worth doing is work, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like that's the work, right? And like that, I'm trying to minimize that. That's why my podcast is so minimal. I'm trying to, like, if it's too much work, I'm gonna procrastinate like a motherfucker.
And that's fine. That's just efficiency. Efficiency gets better
Yeah.
results because you're not thinking about the work. You're doing the performative
Yeah.
art, which is much, much better.
I have to keep
But-
the ratio
Yeah.
at a good level.
But you can only get so efficient. There's some point where you're like, I'm going to have to
avoid it.
work.
I don't have a robot I can just tell to edit my podcast yet.
Yeah.
One day I'll just be able to hit stop and it'll just
Do it all,
like
yeah.
I'll have an AI just run it through the program, line up all the clips, put the intro and the outro on it, throw it on YouTube. Like
And 10
Yeah.
minutes later, it's a product.
I feel like that's like gonna be next year.
I hope so.
Like it's gonna that kind of shit is gonna be automated pretty fucking quick.
It'll be helpful.
As long as we still have power.
We'll have power. People will find a way for power, man.
As long as they don't hack our infrastructure and take down the power grid.
Yeah, I might have.
I feel like that's
It's a pretty House of Cards system there.
Yeah.
But, I don't think it'll happen. I think we'll be fine there. But the AI tools are going to help in a lot of senses. But like I said, there's still an amount of work you got to do. But
Yeah.
it's that work that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have to struggle for it, it wouldn't be.
Well,
Yeah. It wouldn't give you the dopamine.
If my only struggle was scheduling the podcast,
Yeah,
I'd
there
be
you go.
fine. I'd be much happier, dude.
Well, that's what
way
you're
more
working
dopamine.
for. Eventually,
Yeah.
you get there.
If
I'm
that's
sure.
the hardest part is seeking out the guests.
Yeah.
That'd be the best, dude. That's the best case scenario. I'll
Yeah.
take that challenge any day.
Yeah.
But the technical shit, I'm not a fan.
Eventually, you get to the point where you can have someone else do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's like the starting of a business. You do everything yourself until
Mm-hmm.
you get enough income and inflow of orders or whatever to where it's like you can justify paying someone else to do the other stuff you don't want to fucking do.
Yeah, I still gotta
Get
figure out how to
there.
make money on this show, dude. I haven't even monetized any of it.
Get enough. Yeah, you gotta get the following more first. I
Yeah,
think, and
absolutely.
Then you can just
I'm just not
advertising.
consistent enough with the episodes to
That's
even
the problem.
justify getting people to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's consistent, unless I'm putting out an episode like at least every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not on a calendar, like on a schedule, I can't. I wouldn't feel good about having somebody subscribe to a Patreon or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I would
mean,
have to get it down to where I'm consistent.
yeah. Even if you had like advertising, it's all consistency. But that's like any creative field right now.
Yeah.
And media, like it's where bands fall to the wayside. They're
more of the
not
work, dude.
consistently posting, or we're still in the metal scene, especially this idea of I have to put a whole album out. And I'm like, dude, that is not how this shit goes anymore. Like, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of an album, and it's one big thought that you put together, and it's everything flows in this way of sonic sound where all the sound.
That's how they
the
had to do
songs-
it.
Exactly, because you didn't have another way. Now it's like if you really want to make money at this shit, because I'm telling you now, people always complain there's no money in making the product of music anymore. Bullshit. You just want to do it the old way.
Yeah.
And you're refusing to do it the new way that does make money. So you're just complaining for no reason. You put
Yeah.
shit out every 2 to 3 months, and you get 30 pieces of content per thing. Yes, it's fucking work. But there are indie bands, and like I know it's indie and it's not metal. It's a little more popular. But this is just an anecdote to show you can make a portion of this. There are indie bands I know of that they're putting out like 2 albums a year of high quality music, basically, because they're just constantly releasing shit. They're making $40,000 a month on streaming alone.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you tell me, oh, it can't be done, or they're just the exception. Fine, make excuses. You'll never get there.
Yeah.
You got to adapt.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things that I'm not doing for this show.
Yeah.
Like,
Things I'm not
there's,
doing.
yeah, I've worked in. I mean, I helped out Arcanaut. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that they weren't necessarily doing. They were like focusing on other things. We were trying to focus on like the wrong things the whole way through. We were focusing on like artwork, and we were focusing on like which songs are gonna go in which order, and like all this stupid bullshit. And like near the end of it, I was like near the end of my time with Arcanaut, I would like try to convince them like we need to put out singles.
Yeah.
Just get songs. We need recordings. Just record a single song, make it sound really, really fucking good, then put it out, publish it.
That's the
It's
other
like
thing.
you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait.
No.
Just go.
Well, people's memory of what's relevant is so short now. If you're not
Yeah.
constantly going, hey, I got something new for you, they forget about you, and they don't even think to look. And then you don't hit the algorithm because you haven't been on their feed in forever. It never shows up, and then they're gone, and they totally don't remember to look on their own. And the other thing that, like you said, focusing on the wrong shit. So many bands think because you don't they're not going to make money on the product of the music itself and streaming, that's not they're going to put their money into really high quality stuff. And the reality is like, if your shit does not sound on par with everything else that they're listening, the listeners putting back to back, because let's face it, they're not listening to your whole album. It's in a playlist or something.
Yeah.
And if the thing before it and after it sounds 10 times better, they're going to skip that fucking song.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I get it. Recording's expensive. Good mixes are expensive. But if you want, like, that's the fucking product. You're going to say, hey, come to our shows, come buy our shit, and
check us out.
It sounds
Give
like
them
shit.
a song that's like,
yeah, and it's like you're a perpetually local band. Like, not everyone that could possibly be giving you money is going to be in your local scene. So if someone's outside of the state, they can't get to a show to see you. And then they hear, oh, no, they do sound good. They're going to go off what they hear on this online shit. And they're going to go, I don't want to buy a t-shirt. The band sucks. Sounds like shit. Humans are audio people. Look at a video on YouTube. If the quality of the video sucks, but the audio is good, people still watch it. If the video quality is good and the audio sucks, skip. Same thing, And bands want to save money. Oh, let's just record it ourselves. Unless you are really learned at recording, stop it.
or mixing.
Well, not even that, because
you can do a DI. Like, you can do it digitally now.
here's the problem with that. Most bands don't know the confines of how tight they need to fucking be. And they keep you get the constant complaint, man. I don't want everything to be quantized. It sounds sterile. There's no humanization to it. It's all this and that. Well, when your fucking note is a 16th off where it needs to be, where do I put that to make it human? How do I know that? Oh, you generally lead a click a little bit, so let's go a little bit. How do I where do you do with that when notes are all over the place? You have nothing to do but edit it to the grid, because there's no human feel already. It's just off.
Yeah.
Be tighter, but go to someone that knows their shit and can push you to be tighter. It's expensive, but if you go to a good producer or engineer, you should come out a better musician for it, or they're not worth their fucking salt. They should be able to push you to a point that's like, this is better than anything I've ever fucking done, or else not going to do it, but I don't want to pay the hourly rate. Or the song rate, whatever. Fuck.
Nobody can afford the fucking rates either at this point.
I get that. Well, see, that's for me, because I'm not super well known. I've only got a few things under my belt, but I work my fucking ass off to make sure everyone gets the best thing that they can.
Yeah.
And I'll go, hey, I'll do $200 a song. I don't care how long the tracking takes. It's $200 for a song to get it right. And that'll have a mix, that'll have a master. With Louise and Dan, I don't know how many hours we did tracking those vocals for that EP, but I didn't care. I was like, I want the fucking product to be right. I'm tired of seeing local bands that are fucking good have shit quality recordings because they don't have the money for it.
That's the one thing that upset me so much about Arcanaut the whole time, is that
it's terrible.
Seeing them live, they were the ones that would get that experience we were talking about earlier. They were the ones that would pull the crowd up, and everyone would be like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Everyone in the back of their room would be like, what the fuck is going on? The stage was just exploding. They're so fucking loud, dude. They're really good. And the recordings just could never capture that. Never. Yeah. Not once. I'm like, God damn it.
And I don't know who they were going to, or if they were doing it themselves.
They did a lot of it on their own.
Yeah, and that's the other problem. It's mixing is not a fly by night kind of, I'll just dabble in it.
You have to know a lot, dude.
You have to train your ears. It's not even knowing. You can know all the tricks, but if your ears are not trained to hone in on specific frequencies, I can hear a frequency and be like, within 100 hertz, I can tell you where it's at.
Yeah.
And that's not, it's like skill on guitar. You can't just learn that overnight. You can't just go, oh, I learned the knowledge. It's a developing skill. And if you don't have it, you haven't developed it, it's going to sound like shit. Everything's a puzzle piece. You have to know how everything works together. You got to know how it's supposed to sound before mixing to know how to get it to sound great after mixing. Because if your source tones are shit, you're already, you're polishing a fucking turd.
Yep.
It's it doesn't work. And I get it. Most bands want to save money because they don't have money. And I get that. But I'm trying to be I don't give a fuck about money. I'm tired of this
what do you want to happen? What's worth it to you?
Yeah.
You gotta, if it costs too much, then to save to do it right, or you're gonna do it wrong.
Yeah.
Like if there's only one way to do it, then gotta make the money for it.
You got to figure it
But
out.
it's just fucking expensive
Well-
because like everyone is fucking like struggling right now.
Okay,
you
here's the
know,
thing.
so it's
It's not that bad. I mean, the struggle's bad, but it's not that hard to get stuff for recording. All right, $200 a song, right?
uh-huh.
You want to record a song every 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, instead of a full, because that's the thing. Everyone wants to do an album. Well, now you got to save up $2 fucking grand for 10 songs. It's like that's a lot to put down.
Yeah,
So,
that's the basis that I was working with before. It's
Yeah.
just like, how are we gonna do 4 of these songs? It's like
Yeah.
we don't.
you don't. You do
don't.
one at a time. You have think of it. You have 5 people in a fucking band.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for one song. It's
Everybody put
$50
in,
a
like-
person.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't buy that, beer on the weekend and drink. You don't go to fucking
Yeah.
Starbucks for like 2-3 days. Guess what? Everyone has $50, and you sacrifice like 3 things in 3 fucking days. They act like we don't have money. No, you're prioritizing your money in the wrong place. So you
Yep.
care more about your fucking Starbucks and your beer at night than you do actually getting this. So then you don't really want to do it. It's like, where's your priorities? It's not that hard. It's really not. It's a matter of priorities. What do you want? But if you don't have a good quality recording, you ain't gonna get shit either. It's sad, but I personally, for me, like, I'll work with bands on rates. I'm not super hard. I'm like, dude, if you're a good fucking band, you sound good, I just want you to have some good goddamn fucking music, because I'm tired of hearing like local bands and it sounds like fucking ass
Yep.
in a recording setting. And I'm just like, we could get so many more people in on this scene. We could get so many more people and bands kind of moving and going somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like Phoenix is just not just a basic ass stop for most of these national metal shows,
Yeah.
These national guys just have no idea what's in Phoenix.
Right, because if you're not here listening to these bands live, you can't hear anything good.
Yep.
Plus, like you got to vet your engineers and stuff too, because there's so many times like I hear so many horror stories of bands going to a dude, and he couldn't give a shit about the fucking music. They just get a shit quality, or they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is what you get." There's no working on it, and they're like, "Okay, you paid for this many hours up." Not let's fucking finish this right. I don't care if I go late. They're and the sound quality's terrible, or they didn't feel like they could stand up for what they want. Because like, oh, I went to this guy and he wanted it to sound this way, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck how I want it to sound. It's your product. You're paying me. I should be like, if it's not right, you fucking tell me. I'll do it again. I don't give a shit. I'll put in the work. And like a lot of engineers don't want to put in the work to get better, and to do that, they're just like, oh, I want to do this instead of a day job. It's like, man, you're not cut out for it. It's a stressful job, and you got to be obsessed with it, or you're not gonna get past being a local engineer.
Yeah. I went to Crass.
Oh yeah.
And I learned quickly that is not what I wanted it to be.
Worst.
I went to this school and I wanted to be like a sound engineer for Argonaut.
Yep.
That was my original plan. I was going to go to this school, learn some fucking sound engineering skills, and then get some experience on a board, and I could help out Argonaut if they ever go tour. And I got into this place, and it was all based on just studio recording.
Yep.
Like 100, almost 100% studio recording. And they were like, they're always bragging about how they did these 5 disciplines of the music industry, how it was like broadcast and it was like live sound and all this other shit. I was like, no, it's all just studio recording.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to work in a studio and like live in a studio, it's like, none of this is going to really be all that helpful.
There's a lot of crossover between live sound and studio. It is definitely distinctly different, especially because like there's no, I'll track it again. There's a lot of on your feet problem solving, but it's not quite as different. The problem is with things like Crass, especially for people like us that want to go into metal, even hip hop guys, because like those schools teach you how to work in $1 million studio.
Yep.
With high end pop stuff, and you're just not going to get that.
Capitol Records, or
Yeah,
whatever.
That's dying now. You're not going to find it. Like, I don't even know if you can get an internship at one of those without working your way up to having a good portfolio to begin with. And it's like, it doesn't prepare you for the real world. Like, oh, here's a SSL Origin board that's $30,000 fucking dollars. This is what we're going to be recording with, and you're going to go home and go, oh, well, I have a Focusrite 2 input, and I got to figure out how to do everything on the computer. and they never taught you that. It's a complete waste of fucking money.
When I went through it, there was a lot of emphasis on like the mixing and Pro Tools and Logic. Like there was a lot of emphasis on doing things off of your laptop.
Yeah.
So like maybe they revamped it since you knew the program. I don't know.
I never went through that program.
But a lot of it was off of this MacBook here. Like that's where I got this laptop itself. But they showed us a lot of that home recording kind of stuff, but it wasn't. A lot of it was like over Zoom calls.
Yep.
Anyways, because it was like right during COVID.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
it was like really bullshit. It was like half of them were in class and half of them were Zoom calls.
Yeah, that makes.
But it was difficult. Like a lot of it was just emphasized on, you know, when you're an intern at a studio, here's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, and they teach you signal flow and how to mic this and that, but it's like it doesn't. There's no good way to teach how to think musically, how to hear when something's musical, how to edit musically.
Yeah, there's not a lot of the emphasis on the engineering side. The only classes that were involved with like the engineering side was you would be watching this guy who's really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Watching him mix something on like a tape, you know?
Yeah.
And like you're seeing, and he's explaining what he's doing, and it's like really interesting. You're like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like you're not, it's not sticking, dude.
Well,
you're just watching
they can explain it to you all they want, but again, they develop their ears. So until you develop your ears, you can try the same thing. You're like, why didn't it sound like that?
Well, it's just a demonstration. And they'll route a separate channel and be like, oh, listen to the difference, and they'll mute it. Yeah. And like flip the channels, and everyone's like, whoa. But it's like, yeah, you do it by yourself in this room.
It's not the same.
You know?
Yeah. And especially when you're talking metal, man. There's so many moving parts of those things. It's like,
metal's a little more complicated than the fucking stuff they were having us mix.
Yeah, if you can mix metal, you can mix everything because it's such a wall of sound. Guitars take up so much space in your sonic palette that it's like trying to fit everything in a pocket. You know.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's like the Born of Ash album, dude. Doing that because they have fucking 4 guitar tracks. You know, lead guitars.
Yeah, those guys
to 4 vocals.
Those guys are over the top, dude.
I think at the end we had like 250 tracks with all the orchestra and stuff on that.
Fucking Nate.
Oh no, that was my fault. That was all me. So for the orchestra for that, I wrote most of it because at one point they were just sending me one track at a time until they got a bunch of recorded. And then like they sent me Asylum, and Nate's like, "Hey man, we don't have any orchestra for this, so if you have an idea, just throw it against the wall." And I'm like, okay. And I get into it. I thought I was gonna do something simple, and I just went over the top. I was like, they're gonna fucking hate this. It's gonna be like, it's way too much. And they were like, can you just do the rest of the album? And I'm like, all right. Like shit. There was a lot. They had like bass chords just behind it, and I embellished everything, parted it out, and did the arrangement. All the piano stuff was Nate though, because he's much better at piano. But yeah. There was so much fucking tracks that I was like, why did I get into mixing, and I'm like, why did I have all this shit going at once? Because now and they're like, dude, it sounds great. And I'm like, now I got to figure out how to make it work. Make it all heard. And I'm just like, fuck me, why'd I do this? But it sounds good. I like the fucking album, but god damn.
Yeah.
You want to talk about dense mix where it's just like too much shit going at once? That would be it. Album 2 is going to probably be worse, but hopefully.
Worse?
I don't know. I don't know. And get better at the engineering and guitar tones and stuff, so maybe it won't be quite as wall of fucking sound in a sense of like trying to find all the pieces that maybe I'll get them to fit together a little bit better. But yeah, it's still gonna be gnarly.
I can't wait.
Oh god, I dude, I probably lost 5 years of my life mixing that fucking album. Because towards the end, like we were getting towards deadlines where I got to get it to them so they can send it to get printed CDs on time for their release show.
Right.
I was pulling like 13-hour days at least. I was up till like 1:30, 2:30 at night, waking up at 7 to get my kids at school, and just like and I'm laying in bed, things aren't working, and I can't sleep because my brain's like trying to fix the problem. I'll like doze off, and my brain will wake me up. I'm like, I got the solution. And I'm like, it's 4 a.m. I can't do that now.
Too late.
Yeah. I obsess over this shit though. Yeah. Because if it's not right.
Who are you all working with right now?
Me?
Yeah. Are you working with anyone right now? I know you did Born of Ash.
I did Born of Ash. I did Louise and Dan's new project. I don't think they've released the name yet.
No, they haven't.
I'm not going to say it, obviously. That's for them to do.
It's good, though. I heard some of it.
Have you?
Yeah,
okay, good.
I like it.
Yeah, thanks. It was a fun time.
Yeah,
with
I'm
him.
excited because I want to hear those guys with a fucking good recording.
Oh
God
god,
damn it,
it's
dude.
gnarly.
I'm excited for
I
it.
re-amped guitars 3 times for that because I was like, it's just not right yet. That's what I do. I obsess. I'm like, it's just not fucking right. They're like, every time it sounds good. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's not good enough.
Yeah, I
But-
like it. Attila was showing me some stuff.
That was it. Yeah, I want to get Attila recorded on the next one if we
Yeah.
can. So
He's
yeah.
so good.
So good. But let's see. Who am I working with right now? I'm doing my own thing because I had a concept album that I've had the concept for like a year or two. And I finally had a pocket to start like writing in. I'm just going to write and release one song at a time as I go because writing a whole concept album, because it's like, it's prog.
Just on your own?
Yeah. And doing every part by myself is just like,
Nice.
Jesus Christ, I can't do a whole album at once. I don't have time
yeah.
for it. So I'm going to release the first song in like a month or so. But there's that. There's a guy in Washington, friend of mine, he does like modern prog, kind of like Hagen and
Okay.
Dream Theater kind of stuff. Really good. Name's Never Present. He just put a new one out last week. There's some local kids doing Tech Death. I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm pretty sure the band's name is Dissanguinate. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce that, but
Desanguinate?
yeah, something like that. But they sent me over an EP. It's like a 4-song we're working on now. Should be a couple more weeks, and that would be to them. I don't know when they're gonna release it. But yeah, I unfortunately don't have a lot on my plate right now, which kind of sucks. But
It's all right.
I'm trying
I'll
to
check
get
out
more.
the stuff that's coming out though.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
yeah, I mean, it's good shit. It's all good music. But yeah, I'm looking for more people as much as possible because like and one thing I tell everyone, if you're a new person, you're like, I don't know, about your reputation or whatnot, talk to any of the fucking bands I worked with from a
Yeah,
reputation, and I'll give you a free song to start. I don't give a fuck.
Nice.
I like, if you're not risking any money, what do you got to lose? And if you don't like it, you don't fucking like it. Like maybe
Yeah.
I'm just not the right guy. I don't give a shit. If I'm not right, find someone who is, and then you'll be better for it. But I'll give a free song. I don't care. I'm just trying to get people in the door and get people good fucking mixes, and do it at a price that's like affordable, so people aren't freaking out and going, let's just do it ourselves. It's like, I'll take the hit. I don't care because I care about the music, man. I care about getting bands to sound good. I care about their product being something that they are so proud to show people, and not because it's like, oh, that's something I was a part of and it helps me too, but because I want them to have something fucking good.
Yeah, there's too much that's just falling flat. It's like disappointing.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like they're contributing to the mediocrity of the world.
Yeah.
There's
it's
too
like-
much garbage coming out of this place, man. Like we
Yeah.
need some quality.
And I don't know if it's like, the sound engineers are just complacent or jaded. I don't know what it is.
I think it's people trying to save money and do it themselves, mostly.
Yeah.
I think it's people just trying to cut corners and saying like, if Metallica put out a shitty demo album, I can too. If this band puts out, if this band's demo album sounds like shit, like even like Opeth, if you listen to their first demo, sounds horrible. But it's like that's not the standard anymore.
It's not. Well,
It's
like,
not.
look
You
at the Port of
can't-
Ash
you can't
album.
do it.
That thing sounds great, and they already have. It's been like 5 months. I think it was released in June.
Yeah.
You have 45,000 streams on Spotify.
Because it sounds good.
That's my point.
Yeah, dude. You can't
it's
put out
like,
a shitty demo anymore
get good
as your
music.
first album.
Right. Good music, good quality. The proof's in the fucking pudding. Like, come on,
Yeah.
let's work. Let's get this fucking done. I will work tirelessly to make sure that it gets done fucking right. And to it's a point where they like it, and I don't care. I'm in a position where I have the time. I'm in a position where I'm like, I'm not trying to go, oh fuck, if I don't make this much money, I can't eat. I can't feed my kids. I'm not in that position. I'm in a very lucky position that most people don't have. So I can go, let me do something cheaper so you can have a good fucking product. Because here's the thing. If the more I have, I can do it cheaper and still make the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And bands can be fucking happy with their sound. And I emphasize highly, like we were talking about with the modelers. I'm tired of fucking modelers. I'm tired of people going with a goddamn, let me just throw neural DSP on it. And I'm like, dude, I will work for 2 days to get you the right amp tone and cap. I don't give a shit. I will figure it the fuck out. I will change 10 different speakers to find the right one that gives you a unique sound. I want people to sound unique. I want them to sound like themselves. And the one thing I try to do that I think a lot of engineers are not doing is if a band goes to work with them, the first thing I try to do if I can is see them live.
Yeah.
Because
That makes sense.
yeah, well, it's like Dan and Louise when they played the Border of Ash, house party show.
Yeah.
Like I was there for that because I wanted to see what they sounded like live. With Dan's guitar, Attila's drumming, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to capture that live sound. Everybody's just like, oh, we'll do the studio magic, and you see people live, and you're like, that doesn't sound anything like a fucking album. What the hell is that? I'm like, no, I want an accurate representation of how good these people are live. Let's figure that out. I can't always do that, but
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I can, I will.
And that was lucky you were there because that was the first time they played together in a long time.
Yeah, well,
and that was a good show too. They did really fucking well.
All the bands that night were fucking fantastic.
Good. Everyone was on point.
Well, that was one reason I made sure to be there too, because I've been talking to Dan for 2 years, just bullshitting, and then like eventually like, hey man, let me try to help you out, work your shit, because like your demos are fine, but let's get it to the next level. And I saw they were playing that show because they hadn't played anything forever. I was like, I need to be there to hear how this sounds.
Yeah.
To figure it the fuck out, And Born of Ash, before that album came out, I saw them like 6 or 7 times. They played a lot of shit, so I was like, I had a really solid idea of what they sounded like live, and it's pretty damn close. So it's like, if we can capture the live sound these days,
yeah,
I don't think a lot of people are capturing that live sound. They're like, oh, studio magic, and I'm like, no,
and I don't know. There's just like this, almost like there's definitely a lack of engineers on the metal side, like in the metal scene. Mm-hmm. There's like not enough people who have that knowledge of what mixing metal even is or what it looks like. It's like even the players have no idea what they're supposed to hand over.
No.
Like
they're like, well, what do you need? Oh God, it's like so many times I get guitar DIs and they're like, I send a stereo file. I'm like, dude, you have one guitar. Why is it in stereo? And I try to tell them, yeah, send it in a mono file. It always comes through stereo. I'm like, all right, whatever. I can fix it and work with it, but it's like, it's that. The knowledge of what they need to do is so not there. And that's why it's like, go to someone who knows what they're doing. Like, hell, even if you don't want to go to me, you want to go to someone else, I don't give a shit. Go to Ryan Johnson. He does fantastic fucking work.
Yeah. He's good too.
I mean, Sabolia was unreal. Shores of Ithaca stuff's really good too. The other thing is get your fucking drums recorded if you got a good drummer. I'm so tired of mixing MIDI drums. It's not even funny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But, well, it's like I partner with Mark Gray. I don't know if you know who Mark Gray is. He's Shores of Ithaca's drummer.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. He's also in Dead World Reclamation. He built a studio in his house for drums. And he went to Crash too like 10 years ago. And he likes recording and doing shit. And I partner with him to do drum stuff. And he's like, dude, I'll just do $100 for like a 10-hour day. So we can get really cheap recordings of drums for really fucking good. It's like, we're making this shit cheap. Come on, let's start getting real drums on this stuff now, because
that'd be cool.
Hey, people always complain, oh, it doesn't sound human. Well, put fucking humans on the recording.
You can make it human.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
No. Oh, I can humanize drums just, like a madman. That's easy.
Yeah, I mean, that part's easy.
Like, put a human on there, it'll sound human. There's no real compensation for live drums though. It doesn't sound the same.
No, maybe one day we can get really fucking close though.
We are really close.
We could there's probably got to be some AI program that could learn how to make drums sound human. Like, how it hits in different strokes and how at certain points there's more energy, so they hit them harder, whatever.
That's just going into the MIDI. I do that all.
Well, I mean, there's got to be like a fucking automation for it at some point.
Yeah, the DAWs have automations for it, but it's more of a randomization.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
set the tolerance for the randomization.
Yeah, so like what I'll do with MIDI is like your kick drum, say, when someone's doing a fast double kick, like it's not going to be hitting 127 velocity. It's going to go down a little bit, but there's always a strong foot and a weak foot. So it's like, say the left foot's always the weak one, so you drop that down. All the left kicks, down a little bit, and then you humanize it so they're all a little, all the right kicks aren't exactly the same and whatnot. It just kind of randomizes. But yeah, to get a full human feel, because like some
there's
drummers,
a lot of variables.
Yeah, some drummers, like depending on what type of beat they're doing, they'll push the beat or they'll lag behind it a little bit, And it's like, that's completely signature to that one person. There's no way to replicate that. And I don't think AI can pick that apart.
At some point, maybe it'll be able to learn it. It's hard to tell where the limit is on that shit because it keeps growing.
The thing I would think it would have to do is get raw drum tracks in order to analyze those. Because if you have already edited, then that's
you'd have to show them an example of the song, and then it would just optimize that sound and probably put it into MIDI, but just make every setting exactly the same as the actual performance. Or like try to match it as best it could or something like that.
What you can do is if you have enough triggers or like an electric kit, it's like, there you go.
I wonder if it'll be able to do it through like a video. If you get like a video of a drummer and then the AI can replicate it through like MIDI settings.
I was like, how the fuck would it understand the velocities though? Because like the audio would have to be super good too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, where's the limit on this? Because AI can take information and output a data set, right? Like, so what information would it take in order to make humanized drums sound like indistinguishable from real? Like, it'd be cool.
It could probably get pretty good. I don't know if anyone's working on it though. That's probably
somebody's working on it.
Hopefully.
Whether it'll see the light of day, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of music AI tools that work really, really good.
Yeah, I want one for the fucking show, so I can just do the audio.
Yeah, right.
Automate the audio editing. Just boom, done. Because damn, I sit here for like too long trying to get it sounding good.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm like, God damn, dude, I don't know. Like I'm recording too many echoes in this room, is what it is.
Oh, I feel it.
I can't take all the echoes out.
Oh, dude, there's Isotopes makes a plugin to take echoes and reverbs out of tracks.
Well, that's what I'm using RX8. It is Isotope.
I don't know if that's the same one for.
Well, they're on like RX12 or 13 now or something like that.
They got some crazy ones. They'll take a lot of room reverb out of shit.
They're probably way better than this one. I got this one from Crass fucking years ago. Yeah.
But still, that's relatively new.
It was new when I got it, but it's like 3 years old, 4 years old.
Yeah, it doesn't change that much in 3 years.
No, not really.
Yeah, it's like algorithms are a little bit better, but
it's probably faster.
Oh, I'm sure.
This thing takes forever to do. Some of the processes are just like.
Oh, dude.
I don't know. It seems like it takes a while, but I'm usually just waiting for it. Like the decrackle is one of them. It's what it's called.
It takes a long time.
Where it takes out all the static sounding crackles and stuff. It makes it sound really good.
Yeah. CPU intensive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
Yeah, this is the first MacBook with that M1 processor they made.
So
it's supposed to be like, super fast. Like it's supposed to push up the standard for laptops and video production. The videos render pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. I never use any of Macs. I've always had PC, but that's just because money.
I kind of had to get this thing.
Yeah.
They were like, your books are this, and then this is the list, and they're like, you can sign for it right here. It just gets added onto your tuition. Like, okay,
might as well.
Yeah, the MacBook with an audio interface. There was like a set of blue headphones.
Yeah.
And then something else. Oh yeah, microphone. One of the blue mics. Yeah. It was like it's a blackout Spark.
Okay.
I used to use them in the old Air episodes before I did video.
I have to look at the old ones.
But it was before I did video, I think. I don't know if they're in a video. But I realized that the condenser picks up, it's a figure 8 pattern.
Oh yeah.
It's like picking up the other side, and I was like, wow, the echoes are so bad, and I could never get them out. And then I realized like I'm using 2 figure 8, like
they're just picking up everything.
Like I'm gonna pick up you're gonna pick up me. It's just gonna go back and forth, and it just made this horrible echo. I stopped using them. They're really pretty. They're like super shiny, like all black.
Yeah, that's what they do.
They sound cool musically. Like in an acoustic guitar in a room. Damn, it picks up everything. It sounds really cool. But
what did they give you for interface? Let me guess. It was like a Focusrite Scarlett or some shit.
No.
Oh, thank God.
No, it wasn't.
So tired of people using those. They sound like shit.
I do have one of those.
Terrible. Don't ever fucking use it.
Yeah, it's just basic, dude. You buy it at Target, but it's they gave us something similar. It was a Mo2 M2.
Oh, Mo2s are bad.
It was okay.
They're better.
Mine kept glitching out in class. It was annoying. It kept like turning channels off. I was like, what?
Oh man!
Like, what the fuck? I'm not getting anything. Why am I not getting anything?
It's like, check. Terrible.
I had to like just unplug it and plug it back in till I get it to start over. Like, God, this sucks. If I was recording for that, Like, you know, that would ruin the whole thing. It's like,
yeah,
this
it'd
thing
be in the
sucks.
middle of a good take and it just fuck off.
Yeah, I don't
It's like,
use that anymore.
Yeah,
But-
I'm tired of people using the Scarletts and stuff because like when bands want to record their own stuff, they get the Scarlett because it's like it's cheap. But I'm like, dude, the sound quality's so terrible.
Yeah,
like your AD converters are
it's hard to tell.
awful. I can only.
It's hard to tell if you're not like accustomed to, like, if you don't have a comparison.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know, if you've never actually recorded on something good, then you don't know.
Well, it's like I had an old Behringer, not old, but I had a Behringer 4-input interface. It was like $180. It wasn't bad, but I needed something for more inputs. And then I was like, I got a really good deal on an SSL console, and I was like, okay. And then I started recording to that. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
Just the AD conversion is way better, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. They don't think about the AD converter and that being a big thing. Well, it's like, well, that's the last. That's
like,
your last choke point. Anything else can sound great, but you're only going to get
That's
as good as
literally
this
all
thing.
of it. That's like the last step out of the
Exactly.
computer, dude.
You know, all your good stuff in front of it. If you get better things, will still sound better, but that's your choke point, man, and it sounds terrible.
It's like
People
the,
are like,
the
give me.
vinyl. It's like the vinyl crackle.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no getting past it.
no, it's just part of it, which is also why we like vinyl. But you know, it gets a nice saturation to things that you don't get anywhere else. But you don't want to saturate on a bad AD converter. You know, you get guitar DIs and you're like, oh, let's reamp it. And they're like, why does it sound kind of dull? I'm like, because you went through a shit interface. I can't just enhance something that sounds like hell, man. Like
Enhance.
yeah,
Enhance.
They just,
I can't enhance it anymore.
yeah, they just think like, oh, you can just do Studio Magic. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not. I don't like the whole. We'll fix it in editing. I'm like, let's not do that. Let's not fix it.
That's
in
a
editing.
last ditch effort, my friend.
You know, I'm sure most engineers share my enthusiasm for this, and I fucking hate editing. So I'd rather get it right from the get go and then do minimal editing.
Recording should be the part you pay the most attention
That's
to.
what I'm saying.
It really should be, because then, like, if the editing is easier, you're only going to make it sound better. For me.
Right.
Like,
Well, it's like I expect a certain threshold from people. Like I tell them, guitarist, if you are, depending on the BPM, if you're doing like 80 BPM, it's a little bit tighter than this. But if you're doing, you know, metal at 200 beats a minute, if your note is more than 128th off of the click, it's not good enough.
yeah.
And people are like, dude, that's really stringent. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. But I'm not telling anyone anything I can't replicate myself, so I know it can be fucking done. You know, it's like, let's do whole riff, do 4 good takes that are tight as shit. And then all you're having to do is go, which note sounds better? You're not having to fucking go, oh, we can't use this when that note sounds great, but it's off time.
Yeah.
It's like, get tighter. Don't practice to a metronome. Practice recording your DI to a click and then look at it, because that motherfucker ain't gonna lie. You're like, oh, that sounded good. DI says it's shit. Which one you gonna say? You're gonna call the DI a liar? I'm pretty sure it's right there, man. You know, play tighter. That's all I gotta tell people. Play tighter.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard part.
Well, do the fucking work.
Practice.
It's not that fucking. That's my point. They'll sit there and sit there and be like, oh, let me do scales and all these bends and stuff, and then you go to tell them play a fucking rhythmic riff and it's off timing. It's like, the fuck are you doing? You have time.
Too much of the bendy shit.
Yeah. No one gives a fuck. No one listens to Malmsteen for more than 20 minutes. They're like, all right, I'm done with that wankery. Give me a fucking riff.
My fucking brain hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
Give me something that makes my head do this. And if it's off timing, it's like, that sounds like shit. Learn how to pick harder. Something. No, the 2 things I tell everyone all the time: pick fucking harder, pick better on time. And I'm going to say it to everyone every fucking time. Like I said, people can call me out, but here, I will hand you my guitar DIs and you can look for yourself. It's not shit I can't do.
Good.
That's my point. Get good. But that's
good.
the thing. Go to an engineer that's going to push you to be better. Otherwise, they're not worth their fucking salt. They don't care enough
Yeah.
to be like, nope, you can do it better. Like, oh my God, tracking Louise, or so many times I'm like, it's like, that was good. I was like, yeah, you can do it better. And he got frustrated. But at the end goal, he's like, that sounds fucking good. I'm like, I told you, I knew you could do it fucking better.
Yeah, Luis is cool because he doesn't fucking give up. He'll just keep going,
God.
dude. He'll just keep going and going and going. He doesn't stop.
It's so funny because there's times he's like, I'm so mad. I'm like, take a break. He's all, no. I'm like, all right, record. Don't eat me,
Yeah,
you
dude,
large man.
That's definitely him, dude.
But he would get it. He was so tight though. They're so cool to work with because like, for a couple of songs, I let Louise just, like, at first I was like, do a warm up. Just run through the whole thing, do a warm-up. And he just one take the whole thing, and I was like, dude, that's it. Like, there may be like 2 little spots to fix, but it was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And like his timing's great, his enunciation, everything. It was like he can just go the fuck at it. Tell that dude go home, practice this, and he goddamn does it. Comes back, and I'm like, make my job easy, dude.
Yeah, he'll do the work.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. And when you hear that record, you'll be like, yeah, it sounds fucking great because he put in the goddamn work to do it well, and not have to punch in a couple times and here and there, and it just sounds fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, the mix I already heard is pretty good, dude.
What song did you hear?
I don't remember the song name. Attila just showed it to me like real quick, and I just wanted to hear like how it was sounding. You know, I didn't really, I didn't catch the song name, but yeah, it was good, man. It sounds like, you know, Luis and Dan. Like, it definitely sounds like him still, so that's good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited to fucking see that shit. I want to see him get back on stage too. You know,
I want
to see him live again.
I need a bass player. If I had some time,
I told him that too. I was listening to it. I was like, this sounds good, but.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like the bass was fine. You know, Dan recorded the bass and it was super tight. Like, it was really, really good. Mm-hmm. A lot of it, I'm like, I don't even have to edit it. It's fucking great. I mean, he's one of the few people, because he's so detail oriented, and like anytime I've said, okay, you need to focus on this when recording or better on your guitar takes, he does it. So he can send me DIs and I'm like, they're fucking great. Because like he just puts in that work.
He has knowledge too.
Yeah.
He has a lot of the knowledge on the digital side.
Okay.
Yeah. So he knows a lot about. He's been self-recording for a long time.
Yes.
Like maybe he can't get the recording to sound the way it should, or the mix to sound the way it should at the moment. Like, I'm sure if he trained a little more, he could fucking pick it up. Yeah. He's so close.
It know. It wasn't. I mean, the mixes weren't terrible, but it just wasn't going above. But yeah, his ability to track is fantastic. So I'm like, you don't even have to track.
He's a songwriter.
Yeah. And
he's not a sound engineer. He's a songwriter.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, you know, they're trying to, you know, bands and people are trying to do so much of this stuff, trying to wear all hats. It's like, dude, delegate it to someone that's better than you, so you can have the time to focus on writing great songs. It's like a team thing, man.
That's a talent itself. Like, you have to have that too. And like, not everybody can just do that.
Yeah. Like, that's the other thing. Go to an engineer that you can trust to critique your shit. Mm-hmm. Because you need an outside ear to go, this doesn't work, or maybe you'd be better with this. And it takes time to build that relationship to trust, but take some suggestions, you know, because like, drop your ego and sit there and go, okay, what can be done a little bit better? You know, because I tell you, the one thing that's probably the worst in metal is your transitions from one riff to another. If you don't have a good transition, it sounds like shit. It's just like riff salad. You know, how are your transition? Let's find a transition. And most people hate it when I'm like, dude, listen to pop music on how the transition, and they hear pop and they're like, fuck that. I'm like, there's a reason it's popular. I'm not telling you to write pop music. I'm going, how do they build energy to transition like, from one thing to another?
It's a starting point, you know, like, right. Yeah, like you gotta look at how to do it from somewhere. It's just, pop is so easy to listen to.
Yes.
You can draw the inspiration from it, or draw the formula out of that.
Right.
Because you can't miss it. You can't fucking miss it.
Yeah, it's like, on dense layers where you're like, oh, I didn't hear that before.
It's like reading a first grade book compared. You know, like it's like just the easiest bullshit ever. But you can get the formula out of it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, well, it's like you just listen how the energy builds and drops from one thing to another. And usually you hear a build right before it shifts or something. It's like, figure that out. Figure out how to do that. Do you add another instrument? Do you take and go, oh, the end of this riff isn't the same repeat as every other time. The last bar is something different to move it in one way. Like, but that's where the music theory kind of comes into knowing what to do and where. But it's like, take some suggestions, man. Stop doing riff salad. It's just this riff, that riff, this riff. It's like, Jesus, write a goddamn song.
Only write riffs. The song is too hard.
It honestly takes a certain mental gymnastics that not everyone has to write a song, and not like, especially guitar players, they think I'm writing guitar and they write a song of guitar. They're not even thinking, how's the drums going to play into this? What energy is that going to bring for a riff? They're not thinking, what's the bass player going to do? What's the vocals going to do? Like, they're writing guitar songs. And to get to where you can write on guitar or whatever and think of all those things and how they move as a whole, that's a special type of thing that not many people have.
Of instruments.
Yeah.
Like a group of instruments.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just focusing on one, I mean,
And that's what happens. The guitarist writes all the shit, and then just one riff to another, and you're like, okay, everybody put stuff to this.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not like it's a skill you can't learn, but like you kind of have to learn how the other instruments work. You know, it's like a bass player.
sure.
I'm tired of bass players playing fucking root notes all day long. Drives me absolutely fucking bonkers. You know, it's like the guitarist, you know, that wasn't as good as the rest of them. So like, here's a bass player, so he just plays guitar. You know. It's like I was, you know, talking to Mark Gray of Dead World Reclamation, their old bass player. He's like, oh yeah, you know, because he sent me tabs and stuff. I was learning some of their songs, and I was like, dude, it's pretty follows guitar the whole way. He's like, oh yeah, he used to be a guitarist, and we just told him to play bass. I'm like, yeah, I can fuck tell. There's no anything, you know. It's
for sure. It's I've heard it too. When you hear a bass player play like guitar, it's so like bad. you can tell.
Yeah.
You spend enough time around bands and stuff and hear different people play.
Yeah, and it's like the bass can make so much of a difference. And people know that. They listen to Job for a Cowboy with Nick Shinzilos, and they're like, Jesus Christ. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to be that flamboyant, but clearly he's not just playing fucking root notes, okay?
You know Noah Shepherd?
Yes, I love that dude.
Dude.
I mean,
the
I
way
don't know
that
personally,
guy plays
but I love his
bass.
bass.
Like the way that guy plays, holy fuck.
He's perfect for Phage.
And he's just all over the place on stage.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He always just turns into a fucking animal on stage.
his energy's insane. I'm like, this fucking dude.
Like, this guy's a lunatic.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, when you play with Phage at Sad Dad, man, he was just all over the place, just making me laugh. Like, he puts on a show, which is fucking
I
great.
hope he sticks with Phage, dude.
Well, think about this. He's a drummer, too. So
Mm-hmm.
he understands the bass interplay of rhythmic aspect. You're linking rhythm with melody. You're not just playing the melody over top of the drums.
Yeah, it's a unique piece of the puzzle, you know.
It very much is. It very much is.
That's why Dan and Luis need a bass player on stage.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
you can't just run that as a backing track, dude.
Yeah, like as I'm listening to these songs, I'm like, they wouldn't be that hard for me to learn because they kind of asked me a time or two, and I'm like, the problem is logistically, I live in Tempe, they live over here, and I just can't make that drive all the time. But
Hard
I'm
to
like,
do.
You know, if you give me tabs, maybe I can do shows
like
for you.
Fill in, like
yeah,
for a
until
stage,
you can find
know?
someone just to get you fucking live, because this shit would fucking slap.
Yeah,
in a live scenario. But you know, we'll see. I'll talk to him about it. I just want to
see Luis singing.
I do too,
dude.
He's so good.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's got pitches really good because oh man, I can't tell how many people they're like, I'm gonna sing, and I'm like, don't.
You better be good. You better be good.
They're like, I don't want to be tuned. I'm like, then please scream, because you cannot. Like, I can only tune this so much before it sounds like auto-tuning, sir. Yeah. It's going to sound like fucking auto-tune.
It's going to sound like it. That's the problem.
That's the other thing, man. Vocalists that are just like, I want to sing. Can you, though? Go home and do some scales.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, nothing's worse when you had a show and you're just like getting into this fucking music, and then the guy sings and it's off key, and you're like, the fuck is happening? It just takes you right out of it.
Yeah.
Nothing's
you
worse
just
than
want to cringe.
That. Yeah, you're like,
oh no.
Like, I get it. Live's a little bit different because it's harder to hear shit, but
I wonder if they can see people cringe. If you're up there and you're off key,
I don't know. I don't hide my face, dude.
I go pick out like 5 or 6 people's teeth. Like, like, are you aware?
They're probably not even paying attention, man. It's so bad.
Hopefully their eyes are closed.
Man, my problem is this, like, my ear's so tuned for like minute frequency differences where I'm just like, I can't. It's like so ingrained reaction. I'm just like, oh God. And I'm like, if they look at me, I'm like, oh shit. I didn't want to make them feel bad and fuck them up, but
they didn't see me.
I couldn't stop that. It was just
sometimes it's bad.
Yeah. Well, I come from a background. I grew up singing in church choirs and shit since I was 5. I sang barbershop with a choir when I was like 19 and shit. So, dude, that's fucking fun.
That's cool.
Barbershop's fun. It's hard, but goddamn, it's fucking cool. But so it's like I know what good singing sounds like.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, I can't. Why are you doing this? You know?
My dad, he's a singer in like a cover band for way before I was born.
Oh, nice.
And he just kept it up through my entire childhood. And he still goes and like he does jam band stuff at like these dive bars. Like him and his buddies go up and fucking they'll do a couple songs like Collective Soul, you know, stuff like that. Like easy kind of like rock. Mm-hmm. But so I've had a like exposure to that kind of singing for a while. He'd always be singing constantly all the time throughout the house and stuff like that. Awesome. And like I picked up on it. So I'm not bad at singing, but
Yeah.
it's just like when I hear people sing and like they can't. It's like
why? Why are you doing it?
it's like they don't know.
Well, the other thing is like, how are the people in your band not going, dude? That sounds like shit. Like, you don't have to be that mean. I get it. I'm just an asshole. I can't help it.
Should be that
I'm very
mean.
blunt. I don't sugarcoat.
I feel
shit
like there's
'cause I'm
not
you're
enough
gonna get better.
bullying in the world anymore.
I agree. I
We
agree.
need more
You know, like,
bullying.
don't be completely mean. Just be like, dude, sound like shit. Maybe you should get better. You know, like, be nice, but you know, if you're not gonna be blunt and
Be
you're gonna sugarcoat
constructive.
it, yeah.
Be constructive.
Here's
in
what's
your
good about that.
constructive
Now,
bullying.
here's what we can fix. That's what I do. You know, ask Dan about this. That's one thing he was like, this is why we like working with you. Because I'm going to be like, that's not good. Let's do this better. You know,
Yeah.
like I have no problem telling you
Well,
when it's not good.
Dan and Luis have a specific kind of pride in their artwork where it's like they want it to be as good as
Yeah.
anybody else can make it too.
Yeah, and they don't
So
have
it's
the
like,
ego.
yeah, they don't have the ego for that. Like to like if you brought up a suggestion, they're gonna think about the suggestion. They're not gonna just be like, shut your mouth.
Right.
Like go back to playing. Like they're gonna be like, wait, why?
Yeah.
You know, what makes you say that?
They're very
You know,
receptive,
like,
which is great. And I wish every band was like that. Not every, more people, some people are
I
fragile.
feel like it takes experience.
It does. Well, I mean, half of being an audio engineer and a mixer is a fucking psychological game. That you're playing psychologist 90% of the time, either between
Yeah.
band members or trying to figure out how to pull the best performance out of a certain person, knowing how far to push people before you start getting frustrated and their performances now suffer. You know, like I was talking to
It's the true secret to audio engineering.
it really is. It really is. Well, it's like, you know, knowing people's limits is really important, you know. Like I was talking to the guitarist of Desanguated that I'm doing their shit to, and we were talking about recording guitars and stuff. And he's like, I hate doing punch-ins, this and that. I'm like, but there's a certain point where if you're doing a riff over and over and over and you just can't get it right and you're frustrated, if you don't punch in on those couple spots that are just a few mistakes and you keep pushing, they're going to lose their confidence, and the rest of the time that you're recording that day, it's going to be shit.
Yeah.
You got to recognize that. You know, you got to know when this guy's getting frustrated to the point of, okay, everything else is going to suffer. It's not that big a deal to punch in 2 bars.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, you may want your ego if we played this whole thing in one go, but yeah, you're going to pay much more in studio time if you don't. And that's an engineer's thing to recognize that, be able to navigate it properly. That's the whole fucking psychological game. And especially when you're talking to people that aren't like Dan and Louise, and you're like, when you constructive criticism and you can tell they have more anxiety, they're a little bit more insecure. And especially if you're new working with them, you got to build that trust. It's like, you got to figure out how to say it to get them to either practice or do whatever to get better without breaking their spirit.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah, and they have a guard up too, because it's like their artwork.
All right.
It's like, who are you to make these kinds of suggestions on
Yeah.
my like work? But it's like, no, it's our work.
No, it's not to me. Well, I mean, it's our work. It's me trying to capture something you've already done in the most,
It's
the best light.
the physical work of doing it in this moment.
Yes.
Like that's all of us right now.
It is.
Like we're trying to get this onto a track. Like you are
Yeah.
now a part of it in that moment. Like I feel like the sound engineer has to be a part of it.
Okay, yeah. In
Like
that
you're
sense,
part
it
of the
is.
team in that moment.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like,
And if you don't trust the person to be part of your team, what are you there for? Go
Yeah,
find
exactly.
someone who you do trust.
yeah.
Again, it takes time, but it's like a relationship. It's so weird how it's just like having a girlfriend, you know, or a wife or whatever, and you're like, hey, this thing is becoming problematic. You know, we need to fix this. Or I notice you have this habit that's not good for you, and I'm saying this out of concern to better you. And you gotta approach that person of, I love you. I am here to make the best situation. That's the only reason I'm coming at it. It's like the bands. I am only here to make your music as good as possible. Okay? If you're not going to want to do that, then that's up to you. You have the ultimate decision to say, no, fuck off. I'm going to do it this way. Okay, but it's going to sound like shit. Also, I can, you know, show you back to back. Here's the difference. You know, I have examples to show you why it's different. I can explain that, but it's like, you got to go in with, I care so much about what you're doing here that I wouldn't say this if I didn't fucking care. And if it wasn't going to make it as good as absolutely possible. And if you can't bring it up to them that way, you're going to usually be met with resistance.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a hard thing. The people skills is honestly where musicians fall by the wayside because we're creatives. Yeah. You know, like, oh, people, oh God, you know, like it's terrible.
We're just like unconcerned.
Yeah.
I don't care about socializing. I have my artwork.
Yeah, well,
it's
you're
just like,
to see
well, now you're out of practice and you have to interact with humans now.
In order to get your artwork out, you have to interact with people, and you have to know how to do it with tact. Like, it's a social game. Anything's a social game, business-wise, whatever. It's like,
absolutely.
You're only as good as your social skills. Like, I have to. It's funny the parallels between, like, when you're a parent, you get these weird things of wisdom that you don't tell yourself all the fucking time, and you're like, why don't I do that? Like, I have to tell my kid all the time because she's brilliant. She's in 2nd grade. She's doing like 4th grade math, 5th grade reading, like absolutely
nice,
insane. And she's like trying to continue just more information. And I'm like, slow down. Let's work on your social skills because that's where you're lacking. She's like, but I'm so much more intelligent than these other kids. And I'm like, that's the problem. It doesn't matter if you're intelligent. If you can't master social skills, your intelligence ain't going to get you absolute shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then I have to go and apply it in my life. And I'm like, oh, well, fuck, I want to work with people in bands. Maybe I should learn how to talk to people better and create relationships to work with bands. And I'm like, God damn it. It's that inner wisdom you never tell yourself that you kind of have to when you have kids.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's pretty funny. But it's, yeah, man, the social skills are important in any scene. But unfortunately, the work I'm in right now, my social skills are not
really
professional enough.
No, yeah, you're in a trade.
Like, kind of thing. I'm in the trades, and the other day I got scolded for being too frustrated in a meeting. So I just don't go on those meetings anymore.
Oh God,
they're like these daily morning meetings. You're supposed to call. Everyone's on the meeting, and then they go down the list. Be like, oh, how are you doing today? And then people just list out their problems or whatever they need communication with.
Jeez,
they seem totally arbitrary to me. I don't even join them anyways. The one time I did, it was like, nothing's right. I don't have my equipment out here. I don't know what happened. I need a lift out here. This shit's way too high. The ladders aren't going to work. Where's my third guy? You know, I'm just going off. And I'm like,
yeah, they don't.
And then they told me, like, no, ladders would work. I'm like on site looking at the wall, like, no, they aren't.
Oh,
and then they're like, well, the lift wasn't in the budget, and we sent you out a third guy to help out. And I lost it, dude. I fucking lost it in the meeting. I was like, no, let me explain this to you as carefully as I can because you're not here on site and I am. And I just, I wasn't cussing. I wasn't yelling at anyone specifically. I was just saying like, no, you all need to listen. This is what's going on. Like, please just stop trying to fuck around. Like, stop trying to beat around the bush here.
Jesus.
And then my boss came out to the site and like told me and my guy to like, you know, you need to be, you know, more polite in those meetings. You need to like stop going on and saying this is dumb, this is stupid, fuck this. I'm like, dude, I didn't say any of that. And he's like, well, it's the tone. You got to like take the tone down and all this. You need to get on the meeting, just be concise, tell us your problems, and then that's it, and let us handle it. I'm like, I did do that.
And now you're here.
You guys told me I was wrong. So I had to tell you my problems again.
God, yeah.
You told me I was wrong again. It's like, dude, I was like losing my mind. That day was bad.
Oh,
I
feel
I was like losing it, dude.
That's that corporate bullshit, dude. That corporate bullshit.
And I was working at a school while there were kids there. We were working in like this cafeteria gymnasium thing, trying to hang a giant projector screen up.
Oh, man.
And these 2 speakers way up on the wall. And they just gave us a couple ladders and took our third guy. I was like, what?
No.
Oh, man.
Man, that's terrible.
It was just a bad situation.
That, you know, I feel like working in jobs is like, everyone's like, oh, I'm not social because I don't socialize at work. And when they go home, they sit on, you know, we watch TV or whatever. We don't go out and socialize. Like, that's not a social setting. It's not like when we were in tribes, we were like, hey, I know all the people I'm doing shit with today, you know, because we live next door. Like, you're just stuck with people that you would have no reason to interact with otherwise whatsoever. And now you got to figure out that it's like, that's not normal social situations, you know, and everybody's like trying to get social skills there. It's like, no. You got to know how to go somewhere where you have a common interest and make friends. That's a different thing.
That's
where you have
community.
But that's what our social skills are for. Is that not whatever corporate office we're in?
Yeah, I feel like that's like a community is where you like build social skills.
Yeah.
Whereas like doing work is where you test them.
Exactly.
Right? So like in the scenarios I'm in where, you know, I don't have everything I need and I need to communicate with people to get that done, that's where all those social skills I built up are going to come in handy. Yeah. When it's going to be tested, when I need fucking good skills to calm people down or calm myself down or like get my information across without sounding like an asshole apparently. And so like you build these skills with people you're comfortable with and where it's easy. Yeah. But a lot of people don't have that anymore.
They don't. Well, again, when they go home,
going
they sit
away.
on Facebook, they do Netflix all night. They're not. They go home and they're not interacting with people. They're not going to something.
Yeah, the internet has definitely not helped that.
Oh, it's so much worse. And musicians are terrible at it because they're already introverts. And it's like, dude, you want social skills? Go to a fucking show, local show, every once a week.
Yeah.
And force yourself to talk to someone.
That's what I started doing when I was doing this podcast. Yeah. I had the idea to start the podcast, but I wasn't going to as many local shows. And I was like, dude, if I do this, I'm going to just be a total fake. I'm just going to be faking this community bullshit. Like, I need to actually go
and
like talk with people and like be there. Like when I show up, like some of the people on the podcast say hi, I get introduced to more people, you know, you practice talking with strangers and like getting used to it. And like, that's part of the job for me is like going out to those shows and getting the practice.
Yeah. And I bet you're better at it now.
Oh yeah.
It was probably so anxiety riding at first. And then you like, how many times you fumble through a conversation that you're going later going, what the fuck? I look like a
couple of those,
idiot.
Dude, a couple of those episodes in the single digits.
Oh,
some of them are pretty rough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like my first episode was with Attila.
Oh, okay.
But I knew Attila really well already. Yeah. So like that one's fine.
Yeah.
You know, episode 2, didn't know that guy at all.
A lot of long pauses.
So some guy I was going to school with at Crass.
Okay.
He was like a rapper who was like from Florida. I don't know. It was just an interesting guy. I was like, yeah, dude, let's do a show. It's my second episode. Why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, and then like a couple of them were really weird. But then I kind of got into a groove a little bit. But I
feel, you know what's funny is I feel like the biggest social skill for making friends that people can get if they just want to grasp on one thing is learn how to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because like everyone loves talking about themselves.
Questions you want the answer to.
Yeah, they have to be genuine, not just surface level bullshit. Like you can start with that to learn how to start asking questions.
Yeah.
You know, prepare yourself. Think about, okay, what kind of questions would I ask before going into a situation, and then have a few prepared, and then figure it the fuck out. But if you can ask questions, man, people love talking about themselves. You can keep people talking for hours if you just ask them questions.
Usually.
It's super easy, you know. But we get there, we're like, oh, I froze up. And it's like, fumble through it, man.
Sometimes I freeze up.
Yeah,
especially when I ask questions and people aren't answering them. I'll freeze up.
Yeah.
Or if like somebody asks me questions about shit I really don't care about at all.
Oh God.
It gets so hard to not freeze up. I'm like, man, I'm kind of done with this conversation already.
That was my problem when I went to the Born of Ash House party, man. Like they were all talking about video games and different shit, and I'm like, I don't play any of this. Like,
I'm just fucking drunk talking about who knows what.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck I was talking about.
I'm such a fucking nerd. Like I have my kids and I do music and audio, and I am so obsessed over that. Like I don't know what the fuck's going outside of that realm, and so if like you're not talking about that, I'm like, I got nothing, man. Like,
yeah.
You know, what video games you play? Fucking Ape Escape in 2003. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I still play Minecraft. And like No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I play like cozy games pretty much.
Yeah.
Just bullshit. Like I could do anything I want.
Yeah.
Like, I played Grand Theft Auto for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
no objective.
You could just do whatever you want. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I used to play a lot in high school. Like every now and then I'll play again. I'm like trying to make myself do it because like I overwork myself, you know, physically and especially mentally, where I just get burnt out. And I'm like, no, you need to mentally rest or else you're not going to be able to put out the proper work and shit and focus I need to do. So I kind of have to force myself. That's like the only other thing other than like watching some movie or something. But
movies suck now though.
They do.
There's like this formula that everyone's been following, and it's
formula regurgitate.
Yeah,
remake the same things.
Oh, this made a bunch of money.
Yeah, this made a bunch of money. Or, oh, this was, popular 20 years ago. Let's just redo it. I'm like,
Everybody knows this name.
yeah.
If name recognition is good, they'll remake it.
Yeah. That's why I'll read books these days. Like, that's when I'm like, I will sit down and read a fucking book.
Yeah.
But I also have a problem is I don't read a lot of fiction. I'm like, I'm interested in something and I read a book and I'm like, this isn't relaxing my mind at all. Like, I'm just getting worse. And it's like, fuck, what do I read,
I don't know. You ever try comics out? Got a shitload of those. Those are fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't know,
Just
man.
picture books. It's way easier to read.
It's one of those things, like, it's got to hold my attention. I got to be really interested.
Yeah.
Like, I've only really read a few different fiction things. Like, there's not much that holds my attention.
Yeah, I like the sci-fi genre as far as books goes.
Right.
Like there's Ender's Game. It's like one of the classics.
I did want to read that one. I haven't got a chance
that one's
to it yet.
super easy to read. It's like high school level.
Mm-hmm.
It's a super short book, but like the concepts in that book are
they're great.
Pretty fucking crazy. Like it talks a lot about like leadership
Yeah.
and like what it means to like be the leader of like people and how you can't really have friends anymore. You're isolated. Once you're the
Yeah.
leader, you have no peers when you're on top. It goes through a lot of this crazy stuff like that.
Gets
like
you psychologically thinking.
It's obviously extreme scenarios because they're like little kids in space. with
Yeah,
no
I've seen the
parents.
movie,
Like,
so like I understand the premise.
the movie
of it.
was a shallow representation.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand.
it's-
But it's
it
like
gets-
I get with the setting and stuff like that too.
That series actually has like 12 books attached to it.
Jesus.
There's Ender's Game, which is like a short book. He wrote that in like the 70s.
Oh, nice.
And he said he got the idea from it when he was like a little kid, like in the 50s or something, or 60s
cool.
or something. But he imagined the whole battle school in space with all the kids go up there to train for war, and like that was his like imagination. And then eventually he
Nice.
wrote the book about it. But and then he eventually wrote like a different series called Speaker of the Dead about a guy who travels to different colonies out in space, and like he speaks at funerals and like tells people's truths, whether they're good or bad. So it's like almost like a religion. It's like neutrality as a religion almost.
Interesting.
And he realized he was writing the same character doing this, so he just combined the books and wrote it all as
that's
one
cool.
series. So it's the same character, but it's like 5,000 years later.
Oh,
He jumped through hyperspace so many times that it's 5,000 years later. And so
Yeah.
humanity is just expanded across the
cool.
galaxy. But
That's cool. Yeah, I was really.
those books get really intense.
I do like the sci-fi series stuff. That's kind of where I said, like, I like Lord of the Rings. I'm going through that again. I got the Silmarillion that I got to do because I've not read that one yet.
I got to read those. I think I've read The Hobbit and Fellowship.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones I've read.
I'm like, yeah, I did those, and I'm like halfway through Two Towers right now. And like, I like the fantasy stuff, but not that much. I go to sci-fi because like I've read all the Dune books, and I was a fan of that before.
Dune, yeah, I got to read
before
those
the
too.
movies.
Yeah.
Like, I started reading those when I was fucking 11.
I tried to read them at that age, and it was just too much for me.
Oh,
I gotta
God. I
gotta
didn't-
reread them.
I had to reread it because that shit was like
Yeah,
way
I got
over the fucking head, man.
Reread
Like,
that book.
those things are so goddamn dense with wisdom of just how humans work. It's like, what the fuck, man?
A lot of philosophy.
Yeah, there's a ton of it throughout the whole thing. But
I heard that book was inspired by mushrooms.
it was.
Insane.
Paul Stamets talks about
No
that.
wonder it's hard to read.
Oh, I could have told you years
Jeez.
ago. There's so many parallels to it.
Yeah.
There's so many parallels in that book to mushrooms and different things. It's like, yeah, we know what that is. Oh, okay, yeah, you have this basically psychedelic spice and shit. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we know what it is. But I always liked them. I liked the way he wrote things and was really philosophical and like had that grand, like game of chess thing going on. Play people into your hand kind of things going on with all the characters. It was like
The politics,
really,
dude. The politics was super complex.
yeah, and it was really cool the way it worked too. To me. But yeah, a lot of people now are like, "Oh, you jumped on the Dune train." It's like, nah, I was on that way before the movies. I do love the movies.
Jumped on
though.
the Dune train. Well, I'm too young for that. Like,
Right.
I'm too young to jump on the Dune train.
Well,
that book
there's
came
like,
out
oh,
in,
the
like
movies came out. You're all Dune head now. Like, no,
I
was like that.
That book
way
came out
before.
in the 70s, dude.
Right.
Actually, the movie came out in like the 80s.
No, don't watch that.
Like, don't watch it.
Don't watch that. It's fucking terrible. You
I've
try to
never seen
condense a book that, and now they did what it was like 5 hours of film
So far,
for
there's a third one coming out.
Well, but the first book, those two movies cover the first book.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's 5 hours of film to figure out that first book, and they still
Yeah.
skip some shit. So you try to condense it into an hour and 45 minutes in the 80s. Get the fuck out of here.
I
Like you watch
honestly-
that movie without knowing the story, you'll go, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
You won't get anything.
Yeah, I heard it's just a wild,
terrible.
like,
It's terrible.
cokehead's version of Dune.
Yeah. Now, Sci-Fi did a TV series in the year 2000.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi graphics is terrible, but they did it really fucking good. But again, it's 5 or 6 hours. Shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's all important, you know, it needs to be. I'm surprised shit hasn't been turned into like a legitimate series. I'm surprised they went with a movie on it. Honestly,
It just fits. The problem is
is it because like Paramount owns the rights or something like that?
I don't think it's that. A big part of with the problem with Dune is after you get past the first 2 books, for most readers or consumers, it's uninteresting or confusing and just weird. You know? Because that's why I don't remember the director's name right now that's done these last 2, but this is the last one he's going to do. There's like, that covers 2 books. There's 5 that Herbert wrote himself in the series. And if you never read past those 2, you will not be missing anything. You got to be like a nerd and be like, I'm into this. Otherwise, it gets weird. Like, I don't know where he was going with it all because he died before he got to finish like the last like wrap up of it. But
yeah, he might have been on his way out when those. I don't know how far he was planning on taking it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like his son went off some notes and random things he told, that Herbert told him, and kind of embellished, but they're not good.
Yeah, I've seen some opinionated analysis on the Dune universe and how his son just kind of ran with that idea.
Yeah, he just played off his dad's success. That's pretty much what he did. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you can make a series out of it. I think it would lose people's interest because it's just so odd. Doing it in a compact movie form, I think, works better because you need the budget for a big movie. For what you're doing there, for the visual aspect of it, for the costuming to really get that shit right. And I don't think, unless you did like, Amazon's Rings of Power where you put $1 billion in fucking season in, which that. By the way, the last episode pissed me off, but
I didn't watch it at all.
You didn't?
No, I'm trying to avoid it.
It's glorified fan fiction because like they don't have rights to anything. So they're just using the name and
yeah. And that's why I don't like, none of it matters then. It's just filler.
It's
like a filler in Bleach, dude. I don't really care. I'm not going to watch this season.
Sucks.
Like,
yeah,
like that show's kind of cool, but all the filler makes it unwatchable.
Yeah,
like
it does, and it's so long too.
Nobody gives a fuck about the vampires.
No,
like
no. The Rings of Power one, it's pretty good. I like it for what it is. It's just some things like it was all good until this last episode. Like one of the things they did was just like could have done that better. It was convenience bullshit. And I'm like, that's convenience writing. Because I have a friend, he writes novels, and we go over stories because like my concept album, I wrote the story really, really, really well, and it's like, let's write the music to it like a film score. So I went with him to learn how to write stories really well. So now I'm ruining shows for myself and going, that's convenience writing bullshit. That's terrible.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. I can't watch anything.
Yeah, I tried to avoid it, and now it's too late. I'm like, fuck, but. All right, I gotta get heading out of here pretty soon.
All right, man.
But thanks
so
much.
It was
for
a good conversation.
Yeah.
Loved having you over. We'll have to have you back on soon.
Yeah, you should get Mark Gray on here.
Mark Gray.
Yeah,
I will.
He's fucking awesome.
I've met him a couple times. I've just got to hit him up, get him in the studio.
Yeah.
Studio.
Yeah, studio.
My living room.
Sure.
All right, man. It was good having you on.
All right, thanks, man.